All right, what'd you make of this Raw show last night?
I thought it was good. I liked the Bailey turn. Thought it was set up well. It didn't drag for me at all, so that's always a plus. The Baron Corbin match with Cedric Alexander was probably the best Baron Corbin match I've ever... Not probably, it was the best Baron Corbin match I've ever
I thought
seen.
it was better than the Ricochet match.
Oh, I thought it was too, but also they were able to build for a finish, and the Ricochet match inherently was going to have a flat finish. So, and it was up. I sensed with the Ricochet match, number one, okay. The Cedric Alexander match, even though he lost, that whole match was designed by them to get Cedric Alexander over, to get the people behind Cedric Alexander. Where the Ricochet match was designed to be just a match to do a double pin to build up a match, a three-way match for next week. So it's like they had to get to a certain destination that was, the nature of how they got there and everything wasn't going to be as exciting as just Cedric Alexander doing every cool thing that he knows and Baron Corbin being in the match. So yeah. The whole thing, so we're doing a three-way, which actually makes no sense. But
no, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, but that's what they're doing. The idea there is to showcase Ricochet, which is not saying that he's necessarily winning. He might be, but the idea is that in the match at the Garden, Ricochet is going to be there, the babyface, against two heels, and two big heels, and he's not a big guy. So the dynamic is supposed to work for him. The match is for him, just like the match with Cedric Alexander and Baron Corbin was very clearly for Cedric Alexander, but the nature of where they were going, which was the Garden with Ricochet in there against two heels, necessitated that the heel wins, which was Baron Corbin. So, that's kind of the deal. But yeah, I thought so. Cedric was the star of the show. I thought, as far as in-ring goes, more than anybody else, for sure.
So Raw opens up with Seth and Braun coming down so Michael Cole can handle their contract signing. And Cole wants to know how they can function as a team. And they're cutting their promo back and forth about how they're going to defend the title successfully, but then they both claim they're going to beat the other. And so finally, AJ's music hits. And one of the keys here is Michael Cole keeps trying to keep this thing in order. And he just keeps getting shut down. So he says, he can't come out here, and AJ blows him off, and then later he tries again, and AJ tells him to shut up, and everybody cheers. So AJ's argument is, why are either of you getting all of this? Why are you getting tag team title shots or whatever? My guys deserve the shots. Why is Strowman getting a championship match? Because he looked at a belt. I can look at a belt. And so it breaks down into this big brawl, and the heels end up destroying them. Rude and Ziggler come out. It's 5-on-2, and they beat the hell out of everybody. So, actually, that was later. Well, they get a fight anyway. This leads to a match. Then we have the heel beatdown afterwards. It's Braun and Seth versus OC is the first match, and AJ runs over Seth outside, go to commercial, come back for the hot tag. Braun's running wild, hits the post. Seth makes a blind tag. AJ jumps up on the apron. Seth knocks him off, rolls up Anderson, gets the pin. Then we got the beatdown. AJ hits the ring, attacks Seth. Strowman makes the comeback, runs over everybody, accidentally runs over Seth. Ziggler and Rude hit the ring. They all destroy him 5-on-2, and they do a 4-person Magic Killer on Strowman. AJ hits the phenomenal forearm, and they leave everybody laying. So, heavy heat angle to open up the show. Then Kale is back with Cedric, and the OC attacks him. And they beat him up. AJ throws him into a box, beat on him for a while, and Cedric is injured going into his match later.
Which was his out for not winning.
Yep. Rude and Ziggler versus Hawkins and Ryder. Basically just a match to get over Rude and Ziggler. They beat him up, breaks down into a 4-way. Ziggler hits a super kick. Rude hits a DDT on Hawkins, and they get the pin. So there you go, getting the championship match.
Just a quick match to get him over. Yeah.
Lacey Evans is back after her 12-minute match and loss on SmackDown. She faces Natalya.
It was like 15 minutes.
Yeah. So speaking of,
this one didn't go. Natalya had a really good match here, but because I didn't ever. number one, it was very aggressive, and the other one was is that usually in Lacey Evans matches, and you can kind of see the I don't know if I want to say the holes, but just how green she is and how not good she is. And Natalia was so aggressive with her that really covered for that, or she just is getting better. But
well, I watched her on Tuesday. I don't think she got that much better in 6 days.
Yeah, that was also too long, and that really, that was a little bit too long.
So the finish here,
a lot too long, actually,
is Lacey's getting beaten up, and she reaches into her tights or whatever and pulls out her handkerchief, and she's wiping the sweat off in the middle of the match. And Natty goes after her. The ref pulls Natty off. Lacey throws the handkerchief into her face and then hits the women's right and gets the pin. Shouldn't a handkerchief be a foreign object?
It should be a DQ, yes, because she was... Yeah, absolutely.
I realize it's not heavy, but it led directly to the finish.
Well, blinded her or distracted her or whatever. It's definitely it should definitely be illegal, but we're not looking at, again, it's not strict by the book stuff. There's a lot
That's for sure.
There's a lot of creative latitude in and not just WWE. It goes across the board right now in pro wrestling. It's like, people talk about it, wanting to have it make sense, but they really don't. Because there's so much stuff that goes on right now. And this goes, this goes for every single promotion where if you just look at it and go this really makes no sense. But the idea is, since it's pro wrestling and since it's been done before, then, and again, I don't like the tactic of using the refs to get over. I mean, but that's, again, every company's doing that now too, or pretty much. I still feel like the ref should be anonymous people who are just there as to make sure everything, kind of give a credibility to the match, as opposed to, always having to take bumps and always having to miss stuff, and then having stuff like counting 1, 2, and then you get pulled out of the ring, and somehow that's not the finish, or someone. A guy's covering a guy, and the guy from outside pulls him off of the top right in front of the referee. So it's kind of like outside interference again. But it's the idea. The idea is that the refs just let everything go, except when they don't. But then when they don't and they call DQ, everyone's unhappy because they've always, most of the time the DQs that we see are usually not even as bad as the stuff we see routinely. So that's why people.
Well, that's the problem, because there's no consistency.
Absolutely.
If you consistently enforce the rules, and when someone breaks the rules and it's a DQ, that's life. But when you don't enforce the rules, and then something happens and the ref randomly calls for a DQ, you're like, well, that's stupid.
Yep.
So the idea is we should be following the rules. Then these finishes will make sense. People won't be so upset about them.
Yeah. Well, some of the finishes, I don't care what you do. Some of the finishes they do, some of those count-outs that they do, and some of the, not breaking of the count of 5 DQs, that's never going to be good. You know what I mean? But, chair shot, DQ, to me should be okay if it leads somewhere, but it never does. It's just something they do to get out of a match. Or outside interference DQ, those usually lead to something. The outside interference DQs usually do lead to, a storyline change and everything, but not always there either. Often it's just a way to get out of the match too.
Becky did a promo, wants to know where Sasha is, and she says, of all the people, you have no reason to whine. You were the centerpiece of NXT while I was a sidekick. You got called up, you had main events, I was struggling to get on TV. The company actually gave you bouquets of flowers after your matches. Says you left with nothing. Bailey's been doing fine without you.
I think they only did that once, right? The bouquets of flowers thing?
Unless she's talking about something backstage that we know nothing about.
No, I think they mean the, wasn't it, was it Sasha Banks Bailey match on one of the NXT shows? I remember the flowers after that. I think it might have been after the Iron Woman match, I think, or Iron Man match, or I think maybe in one of those.
Says it has to kill you that I'm the face of the company. You should be me. That's why I called you out. I want you to remember how badly you treated me when I was nothing. Sasha comes out and says, I should have been you. I should have had the WrestleMania main event, all the covers. The only reason you got over Becky is because Nia Jax broke your face. I wish you would have broken my face, so people would have cared about me. Says, this is a business, like when I beat you up with that chair last week, but I can make it personal. Becky says, get in the ring, let's fight. Sasha says, I don't fight for free. We'll do it at Clash of the Champions.
Then she later fought for free.
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
Becky says, all you had to do was ask.
But she's a heel, so she can do that.
And Sasha said after the pay-per-view, the man is going to be the boss's bitch. And she left. And the people are into this feud. People are into this one.
Yeah. Well, the Sasha Banks has been over since her return. Just because it's something new and everything. And Becky Lynch, she's a big star.
Corbin and Cedric Alexander. They had a hell of a match.
Oh, yeah.
Cedric ran wild early, went up top. Corbin cut him off, rammed him into his head into the ring post twice as he was hanging upside down. Cedric made his big comeback, and it was just one near fall after another. Cedric sent him into the post 4 times, flip dive to the outside, top rope drop kick. Corbin kicked out. Near fall after near fall.
The top rope drop kick actually was a miss. I mean, he
hit him with 1 foot. Which they call attention to.
Barely. I mean, I don't know why they had to replay it to show us that he missed the move. I mean, it was like, when you're watching it, you could see that it missed. But it's like, okay, so they missed a spot. Then let's show again that he missed the spot that the guy sold. It's like, what?
Well, I think the idea was when he hit it, Corey started talking about how he didn't get all of it. And if he had gotten all of it, maybe he would have won the match. They showed the replay. Corey's like, see? He only got him with 1 foot. If he would have got 2 feet, this match might be over. They tried to turn it into a story.
Yeah, but all they did was call attention to the fact that he botched the move.
Well, he just jumped so damn high. I mean, he kind of hit it. He hit it with 1 foot. But the most impressive thing was he nearly jumped right over the guy.
Yeah. But even with that foot, it didn't hit solid. If like the 1 foot like kicked him hard, it's one thing. But and if the guy no-sold it because of that, it's one thing. But he didn't no-sell it. So why are we showing a replay of a missed move that the guy still sold?
Cedric hit a springboard. Corbin knocked him off the ropes. And literally, when he went for that springboard and Corbin hit the ropes and caused him to fall into the ring, you could hear the crowd go, ah, because they knew what was going to happen. And sure enough, Corbin hit the end of days, got the pin. Crowd was in a fury. Corbin going over here, going on in this tournament. This was actually heat for Corbin. A very good match. And he posed with a scepter and crown afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So next week, they announced Austin will be doing the contract signing right. So he's going to officiate instead of Michael Cole, which should be better.
Well, Austin should help the ratings, and hopefully, it's still not sold out for MSG, and now we're only a week away. So that's whatever. It's pretty telling. First time TV in MSG in like over 10 years, I think. So they're doing 2-for-1s here too. Because we're in 2 weeks, 23rd and 24th. So they're definitely having trouble selling tickets.
Bayley promo with Charlie. She had so much makeup on, I knew immediately she's turning heel at the end of the show. Said she had no comment about Sasha's return.
That's amazing that you can tell from makeup.
It was just the way that they did her makeup tonight. It was like, this is different. Like something's going on here tonight.
Wow.
And they did this interview, and Bayley said, I talked to her, but it was personal. Sasha took her ball and went home. I moved forward. I took advantage of every opportunity. I'm the SmackDown Women's Champion. Charlie says, do you think you're going to be overshadowed by Becky tonight? And she says, hell no, I'm not going to be overshadowed. She says, I beat Nikki last week. I'm going to beat Alexa this week. And we'll see who is in whose shadow at the end of the night. They telegraphed that one.
Yep.
Viking Raiders versus 2 random dudes, Bryan and Tyler.
Bryan Thomas and Tyler Hastings.
Yes. They were killed by the Viking Raiders.
Yeah, but what a great throw that, Ray Rowe threw the guy. Like, he threw him so high in the air on that finish because the guy was really light. So it was a really cool visual.
Then we had Joe versus Ricochet. And actually, before that, Sasha was interviewed by Sarah and told her to get out of her face. So Joe and Ricochet had a pretty good match, although my pet peeve, Joe's there working over the dude's leg, and then Ricochet just does everything. And literally, as he's working over his leg, Michael Cole says, and this is a quote, Samoa Joe has taken his aerial offense out of this match for the most part.
And then he does all kinds of aerial moves.
At which point, like 2 minutes later, we have, in this order, flying forearm, running Hurricane Rana, springboard lariat, running shooting star press, Phoenix splash landing on his feet. It's like, come on.
Space flying tiger drop.
Space flying tiger drop. Goes up top for the 630. Joe crotches him. Puts him in the clutch on the top rope. Ricochet shoves him off. They both fall in the ring, and the ref counts 3 as they're laying there with one hand on each other. And so the crowd boos. They're furious at this finish. And the referee goes outside, gets on the headset. He says, from my vantage point, both of their shoulders were down. And then he rushes to the back, telling both guys I'll make a ruling soon. We have Joe attacking Ricochet. Ricochet makes his own comeback. And that's the match. So keep in mind, by the way, as we move on here, both men were down. Both men were pinned.
Yes.
Strowman's with Seth.
You know, they could have, there's probably other ways they could have done this if they wanted to get the end, because the end result is you want a 3-way.
Well, the way that they do it, I mean, I'm not advocating for this, but they've done this a million times before. Baron Corbin runs in, and it's a double DQ because he thinks he's eliminating both guys. But then it turns out, well, you eliminated them both, so they're both in, and now it's a 3-way.
Yeah, that at least would have less people complaining about not making sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Strowman interview talks about Stone Cold and says, man, Strowman's upset. Austin put over Seth on Skype a few weeks ago. Now Seth's boy is moderating the contract signing. Seth says, dude, we're not working together to set you up. It's just what it is. Braun says, if Stone Cold gets in my face, he'll get these hands. Firefly Funhouse. This is the big announcement because the word broke over the weekend. So Bray says, what the Fiend did to Finn Balor was super duper rude. I want to say I'm sorry. But on to bigger news. And the Vince McMahon puppet appears. And the puppet says, how dare you challenge Seth or Braun to a match at Hell in a Cell? And
so that was Vince's announcement.
That was his announcement. Bray pulls out a stack of bills, stuffs one down the Vince puppet's mouth. Vince puppet changes his mind because money's on the line. And then Bray says, see you in hell. So there you go. It's Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, against the winner at Hell in a Cell. And that's how they announced it. That was bizarre.
Yeah. I mean, well, the idea is that Bray's making him money, so Vince overlooks everything as long as he can make money. So there's probably something to that.
Corey Graves with John Cone. And he's about to ask him about the ruling, and Corbin rushes in. Says, they eliminated each other, therefore I get a bye to the finals. Cone says, no, WWE management has decided neither of them were eliminated. They both advance. I was like, what? So it is a triple threat match next week.
Yeah. There are other ways to get there, but that's the destination. You know, that was the idea.
Charlie's with Ray. Says, my son convinced me to dig down deep and continue fighting. And it's funny. As parents, our responsibility is to push our children to pursue their dreams, but now my son is pushing me. I'm not done, not yet. I have more to accomplish, and I'm doing this for my son, Dominic. Oh, how poorly this will end for him.
Yeah, Dominic has to turn on him, huh?
Well, he doesn't have to, but that's what I figure is going to happen. Because we got to get some heat somewhere.
Yeah.
Who's he go with, though? He's got to be, like, part of some, like, group.
Tully Blanchard.
I don't think he's available.
No, I don't either. I don't know.
What's JJ up to?
No.
You kidding me?
No. JJ having to read from a script at this
Having to read from a script would suck. Yeah. But if you didn't make him read from a script, he'd probably be the best promo still.
Yeah, I think to a degree.
Dude, we saw him cutting promos and doing speeches at Cauliflower Rally just a few years ago. He was great.
Yeah, that's still a few years ago now. That wasn't. I've seen him a couple times. I wouldn't be sure at this point. But I mean, it was 5 years ago, or even 4 years ago. Yes, I would be sure. Now I'm not as sure, but yeah, it's just like you bring someone back like that and then have them read from a script. You don't know what you're going to get. I mean, if you have him do it the old way, he could probably do that. Actually, I think he probably could just do that one automatically, but it won't. That's not how they do things anymore.
We had Miz versus Cesaro. Cesaro coming off his performance at NXT UK.
That did him a lot of good, huh?
Gets in there with the Miz, and my God, Miz was in slow motion, slower than usual.
You know what else? Frickin' Miz's punches with that left hand. I don't know if he's got a injury.
They were very bad.
I mean, usually they're bad. They're not. I would call them not convincing, but they're okay. I mean, they're not good, but they're okay. These were like really bad. Like every single one was worse than the one before. And I mean, it's usually not like this, but it was. Yeah, those left-handed punches every time he threw one. It was like, is this guy hurt? Because I just don't. I mean, because he usually does. He never punch? Because I think he does.
No, he punches.
I know, that's what I mean.
These were particularly bad for some reason.
Maybe he's got a bad shoulder, and it's just making him punch weird.
Anyway, he's facing Nakamura at the pay-per-view, so he won this match.
Yeah, he had to win. I mean, when this match came out, it was just like, well, I don't know if I would put Cesaro here because he's got some momentum, but since he's here, he's got to lose because Miz is facing Nakamura on the pay-per-view.
And then we had Becky and Bayley versus Nikki and Alexa. Sasha came out to watch and ended up with Becky getting a hot tag, middle rope leg drop. Nikki broke it up. Becky took them both out in the corner, and then Sasha just hit the ring for the DQ. Horrible finish. And she grabbed a chair, hit Becky with a few chair shots. Bayley hit the ring and grabbed the chair. Everybody in the crowd knew where this was going. She smiles at Sasha, starts waffling Becky with chair shots. Fans go crazy. They're doing the yes chants. And the show goes off the air.
They were going crazy with her beating down Becky. But, it's like the whole thing. It's
Dude, if they didn't know that was going to happen, I mean, come on.
They knew because
this happened way too many times.
No, people will always cheer a happening. And look, this is a Paul Heyman show, so I could, I haven't been told, but I can guarantee that he knew. I mean, just completely guarantee. It is what it is. I mean, that's just it. Like, if you're going to do a turn, they're going to, they're going to cheer you. I just hope they don't boo Becky Lynch because that's not the goal. But that's what turned Ronda. One of the things that turned Ronda Rousey was Charlotte Flair. Beating her up when it was supposed to be the Charlotte Flair big heel turn.
Alrighty, this Raw show.
I mean, the Raw show was good. It was actually a really good show, and I expect we'll see, but I expect that their number's not going to go down because of Steve Austin and some of the other stuff on the show. It's interesting they put Austin on first because I think he was for sure the biggest ratings draw, and I probably would have held him to later. But the way they laid out the show was the way they laid out the show. The show flowed pretty well. I don't think there's any really dull points on the show, as far as real bad points where I think that there's going to be major audience turnoffs or anything like that. Baron Corbin won, so that would probably lead. I mean, we got to figure that makes. I don't see them doing Baron Corbin against Elias in a match, so I think that makes Shelton Benjamin certainly the favorite. Chad Gable to go to the finals, which is. I've seen that match before. I mean, look, Chad Gable's a super wrestler. If they give them time and everything like that, Chad Gable can get a great match with Baron Corbin, or at least a very good one if they give him time. I don't know which one they're going to go with as far as the finish goes. You can argue both ways. I mean, they've pushed Gable as a sentimental underdog character. But they also like when they do that to kind of cut the legs off of people right before they get there. And Corbin is kind of like Corbin's definitely the kind of guy that I could see them trying to do the King thing with. So we'll have to wait and see on Sunday.
He's put that crown on and sat in the throne every single week.
Yep.
Which makes me think he's not going to win the crown and sit in that throne, but I could be wrong. Is this the greatest King of the Ring tournament ever in terms of in-ring? It has to be, right?
Oh, God, no. Compared to some of the ones that Bret Hart won? No. I mean, I haven't seen a Bret Hart-Kurt Hennig match. Bret Hart did 3 King of the Ring matches in one night, I think. I'm trying to remember when Owen won, because, I mean, Owen would have had to do a couple of big matches, but I don't remember how great they were. But I definitely remember when, with Bret. But, I mean, it's possible.
Bret had 3 good matches. So I'm talking about those tournaments. I mean, everybody else having great matches. I mean, there have been really good matches from everybody in this tournament,
right.
including Corbin.
I'd have to look it up. But I don't know. I mean, it could have been. It could be. God, because I don't have great memories of. I mean, I know that most of the King of the Rings, this would have blown away most of them. But for whatever reason, I remember the one that Bret won as being like a super tournament. Let's see, I'm trying to think of the other ones. I mean, the early ones, probably the one night ones, I would think that this blew away because I never really heard any of those. You know, the original King of the Rings. All
right, so the 93 King of the Ring that Bret won. Let's see here. The quarterfinal matches, Bret Hart, Razor Ramon. So
I think that was probably good. I don't remember it all. I don't remember it particular. I just remember Bret had good matches in every win.
Sure, but aside from the Bret Hart matches, we had Mr. Perfect versus Mr. Hughes ending in a DQ.
So that sounds terrible.
Bigelow versus Duggan.
It probably wasn't that good.
4 minutes, 59 seconds.
Yeah. Probably.
And Luger versus Tatanka in a 15-minute draw. Oh, my God.
Actually, I'm trying to remember that one. God, I don't remember. I just don't remember that match. I don't remember.
I'd guess it wasn't great, but I don't know.
I couldn't remember that specific match.
Anyway, that's the rest of the tournament, so.
Yeah, and then Bret won all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, the show opened up with Steve Austin coming out for this contract signing, and he's just super over, and he does this Steve Austin deal where he just rambles on about his memories, and everybody just loves it, and he's talking about how he did a contract signing here with Undertaker, and Undertaker gave him a choke slam, knocked him out for the first time ever in his career, and he woke up and was told, God damn, you're in Madison Square Garden. Everybody goes crazy. So he was great, calls out Strowman, calls out Seth, and Seth cuts his promo about how he's the best in the world, and there were actually boos and people chanting for CM Punk and AJ Styles, but they quickly were drowned out. We had Braun cutting a promo, then he signed, and it ended up with AJ and the OC coming out, and a giant brawl breaks out, and the OC gets laid out outside, and AJ ends up in the ring all by himself, and he turns around, Steve Austin is right behind him, Steve Austin gives him a stunner, leaves him laying. This segment, I loved it. Thought it was great.
It was, okay, so the negative on it, unfortunately, is, and we say this whenever, like, Steve Austin and Dwayne Johnson end up on the show, is it's like they blow away the show. Like, Steve Austin as a character was so much stronger than everyone else on the show. I mean, it was almost scary, but not surprising at all. But, yeah, Steve Austin was great. He made the segment. But again, like, I don't think Steve Austin was reading from a script either. I think that I'm certainly wasn't. But so that's. But yeah, I mean, like, you can't say enough for him. Just wish that, well, there's a reason he was the big star that he was, and the business is lacking someone with that kind of the ability to carry a live crowd like that. That's it was very impressive, and he hadn't missed a beat. He was great. I
mean, really, at the end of the day, what can you do? You either have these guys come back and outshine everybody, or you just don't have them come back.
You don't have. Well, here, you do what this is what you should do. You should do it like once every now and then, but if you rely on them, it's not a good thing. But, I mean, they were looking for, it's Madison Square Garden, and they were looking for something really big. I mean, the thing is we just did, he was just on a show a couple weeks ago, and then we got the other one. They're going to it too much, so it becomes diminishing returns. But, this is first week of football, and that's what they do, I mean, I don't know, the answer is, I think, to not overdo it, but they're doing it a lot right now because they know that's, I mean, as far as it's the ratings fix. It's really the only thing they've got that's guaranteed to draw a rating. Now, as far as the show, the Raw reunion, where they brought all those guys back, they didn't all outshine everyone, but, they also were used, most of the guys were, forced onto the show. There was too many of them and all this. When it's one guy and you're, kind of build that and he's good enough to where he can carry it like this one, that's a totally different situation. I mean, I think that he helped the show. So there's nothing negative to say, but yeah, you don't want to have him on too often, but I could, if you had the right thing, I could see using Steve Austin a couple times a year.
He looks exactly the same.
He looks the same. He looks good. Great shape.
So this led right to Cedric Alexander versus AJ Styles, and kind of a weird match. Cedric works over AJ, who's still selling a beating from Stone Cold Steve Austin. So AJ's selling. And
yeah, and it's funny because Cedric's the one who was supposed to be injured coming in, because they did the injury angle last week. So it's kind of like coming in and he's all taped up. You're thinking that he's going to be selling and all that. And it turns out that, it was almost like AJ was semi put in the babyface situation, but not really.
Yeah, it was a little bit at the beginning, but then cut the guy off and worked over his arm. They actually got the heat before going to commercial, which is a big improvement. And he started his comeback. OC yanked him off the apron for the DQ. Ungodly, terrible finish. They destroyed him. Viking Raiders hit the ring, laid out AJ and the OC. And
yeah, it was obviously a setup for something later. Which ended up.
It took them forever to announce that match, though. When it was over, it was kind of like, wow, they didn't even set up the match. And then an hour later, they set up not even that match. It was a 10-man tag, so we still got it.
I actually thought they were going, when the thing happened, I thought they were going right into a 6-man tag.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, because the way everything was. And then they just said nothing, and then they did the thing backstage with Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler. And when did they even say Strowman and Rollins would be in it? Not until the announcement, right?
I think it was the announcement, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, they didn't. I would have thought that the challenges and everything would, the challenges should have been right there. Yeah.
Bayley and Sasha promo talking about taking on the other horsewomen tonight. They promised a new Firefly Funhouse segment later. Roman Reigns came out in a Connor's Cure shirt.
Okay, so here's the key here was that Bayley and Sasha Banks were shown that they're best friends, while Charlotte and Becky Lynch, they showed backstage, were glaring at each other. So the story is that the one team, the heel team, was going to get along, and the babyface team was going to have problems. To build up that match. Yeah, and then Roman came out. That was a great segment with Roman Reigns with the kids. I thought that made the company look good. The kids were good. Roman Reigns was great. So, yeah, that was really good.
Roman is the perfect guy to be doing stuff like this.
Well, of course.
Because it's affected him. Yep. You know that he believes every last single thing. It's not like a company thing. I mean, obviously, the company designs this, but he would do it on his own.
Yeah. That's part of the deal. But he would have been the spokesperson for this anyway, because that's what the lead babyface in the company does. But it does, look good. When John Cena did it, John Cena was really good at this too. But with Roman Reigns, it's a different dynamic because obviously he's battled leukemia twice. So, but yeah, I thought this segment was great.
We had the women's tag, the Man, the Queen, and the Boss and Hug connection. best women's match on WWE TV in a long time. They got the heat twice. First, they worked over Becky, and Charlotte got a hot tag, and she runs wild and boots Bayley off the apron. Did a bunch of spots, and then finally, Bayley threw Becky into Charlotte, and this led to a second heat on Charlotte. So Becky got the second hot tag, and they did more near falls, broke down into a three-way. Charlotte hit a double drop kick, a sloppy moonsault on Bayley, but Sasha broke it up. All four girls.
I thought when she did that, she was trying to overprotect her knees on the landing.
But she landed really hard on her knees, so.
Yeah, I thought, I don't know, it was weird. That was a weird landing. Yeah.
So all four girls hit a big move outside, including Bayley hitting Charlotte with a German on the mats outside. That looked like it sucked. And Bayley tried the elbow. Charlotte got the knees up. Sasha tried to interfere, got thwarted, and Charlotte hit the natural selection on Bayley for the pin.
Yeah, so finish made sense because, Charlotte challenging Bayley and the whole deal of trying to get Charlotte over as the babyface and Bayley as the heel. So because I'm trying to think what happened when they were on tour this week, and it was weird because in one of the cities they did the deal where Charlotte, so on the house shows. They've been doing this more with Becky Lynch, but a lot of the times what they do is they'll have the heel attack the babyface early in the show, and then lay him out, and then you kind of tease that you're not going to get your match, and then the babyface comes out, which is again, like I said, often this has often been like Becky Lynch with Lacey Evans, and we're going to have the match, and then the babyface comes out, and then of course wins, and in. I think this was one of the South America shows, if not both. But one of the South America shows, they had Charlotte attack Bayley and beat her down, and then announced later that Bayley was going to come in. But the idea was still that Bayley was the heel. And at the shows, they did that sort of double turn thing, which really wasn't like that. It really wasn't much of a turn for Charlotte at all. I mean, I guess they just had them beat her down on TV last week. So Bayley's the heel and Charlotte's the face for this match. But the people were, from the reports I got, Charlotte was really over as a face at the house shows. So, that ended up working. So they plugged, Mark Raimondi did a story on ESPN that they plugged on actually all four of them to build this matchup. So that was there. Yeah.
Sasha tried to interview AJ, but he freaked out, and Ziggler and Cedric showed up, or Ziggler and Rude showed up, I'm sorry, and they said, we have common enemies tonight, we should team up and take them out, and AJ was down with this, and
they shook hands.
They shook hands, vowed to take care of business. So we had Rey Mysterio, Grand Metalik, and I had no idea what to expect, and what I got was a Lucha Libre match on Raw, two guys, two luchadors doing Lucha Libre. The fans liked it.
For the most part, there was a lot of American stuff mixed in. The one thing watching this is, and compared to the Lucha Libre that I usually watch, is that this was so much slower. I mean, it was very good, but it's just, which is funny because Grand Metalik can go with anyone and Ray can go with anyone. But it really was, so it didn't have any, to me watching it, it had no Lucha Libre flow. It had the flow of an American match. But, they did a lot of the spots. It was good. It was good. It wasn't great. It was, I know that these two, without a doubt, could do a really spectacular match. And, they had 6 minutes, so this was not it. But it was good.
Well, I enjoyed it a lot. And the only thing that I thought was really weird about it was they did a spot where Grand Metalik did this huge dive onto Ray. And Ray, throughout his entire career, has been the guy doing the dive. He's not the guy sitting there as a base or catching dudes. And sure as shit, Metalik flies over the top rope, and he lands right on the dude's head, and Ray's neck goes sideways, and the ref goes out there, and Metalik is checking on Ray, and the ref's checking on Ray. Turns out Ray's okay, and he continues the match, but That was a very strange decision to have Ray be the guy to catch Grand Metalik.
Well, Metalik, I'm sure, Metalik's big thing is his line. Well, Ray, when he would do singles matches, was always catching the other guy, no matter who it was. So, but that's not that unusual for him, as far as doing lucha libre stuff, because when he would work with in Mexico, they would do those, with Psicosis especially. He would be doing a lot of the catching. I mean, he would not be doing most of it, for sure. I mean, most of it was Psicosis getting Ray over, or Juventud Guerrera, or, and certainly with some of the bigger guys, he wasn't catching that much. But, for as far as for like one spot, I mean, Metalik was probably going to do a dive. I mean, this is his big opportunity. It's not like he gets singles matches that he's allowed to do anything in. I mean, usually Metalik's there to do, just the comedy stuff or the 6-man stuff. And if he was there in a singles match, it was 2 minutes and get squashed. So this was kind of his, this was his chance to kind of show a little bit of what he got, and he got to show some of it. I mean, it's not, I've seen, a lot better Metalik, but like I said, this was a good match.
Ray the Frog Splash got the pin, helped him up, and they shook hands. Street Profits did their deal. We had a recap of Rowan and Roman, and then the three-way. Corbin, Ricochet, Samoa Joe. They had a very good match.
Yeah, I liked the match a lot, really.
A lot of big spots. Ricochet looked like he was moving a little slower than usual, but he still did all of his stuff. And a couple of weird spots. There was a deal outside where Joe was trying to choke out Corbin, and Ricochet broke it up for some reason. And even the announcers had to point out that this made no sense.
It made no sense, yeah. I mean, the only thing is when I watched it it's like, at that point, there were like 2 or 3 points in the match where it was kind of like, okay, Corbin's for sure winning. And I think the one where I really knew is when Ricochet went and hit the 630, because I saw Corbin right out there, and it's like, this isn't the finish. And if Ricochet was going to win, this absolutely had to be the finish. So, yeah. But, I mean, I knew Joe wasn't going to win. I thought that Ricochet certainly had a chance to win, and Corbin also had a chance to win. So,
well, when Joe cut a promo on Chad Gable on SmackDown, I thought, you know what? He could win, because they kind of teased it on SmackDown. Yeah, right. But now they're not going to deliver it.
Yeah, I remember that promo, but it just felt to me that they would not make Joe King of the Ring. It's just not King Joe. If anything, that hurts him, because it's kind of too. It doesn't fit his character at all. Like, he could have gone to the final and lost to Gable, and it would have been a phenomenal match. But I don't know. I just when this match was going on, I just had the feeling that Joe ain't winning. And Corbin had a real good shot at winning, and Ricochet certainly had a shot at winning as well. And then the certain spots during the match was like, okay, Ricochet's not winning, because if he was, like I said, there were things that if he was going to win, he would have won with the 630 would have been the finish.
Well, he hit it, and then Corbin threw him outside and snuck in, stole the pin on Joe. Fans were furious. But there's a lot of chance for Corbin. Winner.
I mean, because it was the Garden and everything, and the ironic fans and everything. I mean, there was "Let's Go Corbin," Corbin sucks, and I mean the Corbin sucks was much.
The Corbin louder. Fans were gone when he actually won.
Yeah, the Corbin sucks chants were certainly louder, but I don't think I've ever heard "Let's Go Corbin" before. So that was
the fans do their ironic, funny chants until it actually happens, and then they realize what they were chanting for. I think that's what happened here. Natty versus Lacey. They had a match.
Natty was good.
Lacey worked her over. Natty fired up.
In fact, actually, I thought Evans, watching her, I mean, I definitely saw improvement in her in this match. She was, I thought, like, as far as, like, yeah, I thought that this was better than Lacey Evans has looked. Natalya looked good. I mean, it wasn't like it was this like over the top fantastic match, but Natalya is very, very aggressive in these matches, and Evans is coming back with her, so it wasn't bad.
So she threw the handkerchief in Natty's face. Natty fired up, put her in the sharpshooter, and got the submission.
Yep.
We had clips from earlier of Enes Kanter winning the 24/7 title from Truth, and he took off his jersey, had a Celtics jersey underneath to get their heat.
And also because he plays there.
And then Truth won it back.
Yeah, so this was taped before the show. So Enos Cantor, if a lot of people don't know this, but I don't know because I haven't been keeping up, but he is the boy. He was, and as far as I know, still is the boyfriend of Dana Brooke, unless they've recently broken up. And he's also really good friends with Paul Heyman. So him being on the show and doing something like this was, with Heyman running the show and everything, that made all the sense in the world. So, and he's a big wrestling fan. He wants to do pro wrestling, like one match at some point, like a lot of athletes do. So, as far as while he's still around in the NBA, I don't think it's a good move because I don't think the teams would be really appreciative. So this was probably about as much as he was going to be able to do at this point.
So then we had the Firefly Funhouse. This was really bizarre. I mean, they're all bizarre, but this one was bizarre because they had a Stranger Danger segment where all the puppets are talking about strangers, and Bray is losing his mind. And he talked about strangers being friends you haven't met yet, and he was clearly talking about Steve Austin. And I thought for sure he was going to go out there at the end and put the claw on this guy.
He absolutely brought up Steve Austin.
And he did not. They didn't pay it off.
I don't think that they would want Steve Austin to put him over. I don't think that's...
So why the hell would he bring it up on Twitter and bring it up basically in a promo on television? Why do that if you're not going to pay it off? Isn't that Vince's big deal? Don't do things that you're not going to pay off?
I don't know. I don't have an answer for that, but I just don't see, I don't think it's a good idea. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't trivialize Austin as just being a guy, one of those guys, too strong of a character. Because if he does something to Austin, the people would want Austin to get the revenge, not Seth Rollins or Braun Strowman. So it doesn't make sense, honestly, to do that. But I mean, as far as why he was doing it, maybe to tease something down the line, who knows? But yeah, he went hard on Austin. He definitely did. But I'm trying to think what else. So he was always talking about strangers, right?
That was the deal, yeah.
Yeah. So he'll probably do something. I mean, I'm sure he's going to do something on the pay-per-view, as far as after the Rollins and Strowman match, or at least he should.
So the main event was the multi-person match. Seth, Cedric, Braun, and the Viking Raiders versus OC, AJ, Dolph, and Rude. So this match had a problem, and that is that they had a lot of time. And so they basically did a match with a hot tag, and everybody hitting all of these moves and dives and big spots. They had the spot where AJ would do a dive, and then Braun would run the guy over outside immediately afterwards. And he hits the power slam. The other heel shoves Seth into Braun. Braun doesn't know what's going on. He starts screaming at Seth. They go to commercial. They come back, and they've started over. They've now got heat on Seth Rollins. And whatever happened with Braun and Seth, it's just done. Seth gets the hot tag to Braun after all that.
It was interesting because you figured the key to this match is that you want the spot with Seth and Braun, and I don't think it was that strong.
It wasn't because they did the spot, they went to commercial, they came back and basically started the match over, and Seth has all of these guys. There's 4 guys on the apron, and the guy he gives the hot tag to is Braun. And Braun just gets in the ring and makes a comeback like nothing ever happened. And the finish has nothing to do with Braun and Seth. And the worst part was, because they did so much stuff in the first half of the match, they tried to do it again a second time, and the fans were not into it. And they finally got back into it when there was a big dive off the top by, who was it?
Ivar.
Hansen, whatever his name is, Ivar.
Yeah.
And everyone's outside, and then AJ goes for the forearm. Cedric grabs him, hits a lumbar check, and pins him. So that's how they set up the Cedric-AJ match.
Has that been announced yet? I mean, I'm sure it's happening, but yeah.
I'm not sure if it's officially been announced, but...
It is happening.
Sure.
I mean, because, like I said, a couple weeks ago, I was told that, AJ was defending his title, but they wouldn't tell me who it was against. And when they did the announcement of AJ and Cedric, obviously I thought there was a good chance Cedric was winning that match, but instead they did it here. They didn't have him win the singles match. So, I mean, AJ and Cedric, the match that they had on TV, in a sense, I was really looking forward to it, and it did not meet that level, but maybe the pay-per-view match will, because this was obviously, again, bad finish, and not the 10-man, but the singles match earlier. And it was more of a setup match, to build up this match rather than go out and do the match type of a thing. So, on paper, AJ Cedric's a real big match, and I would not expect, anything can happen, but I would not expect Cedric to win. I think the title's more valuable on AJ right now, but I think that it can be, again, Cedric's climb is probably going to be a slow climb anyway, but obviously you can tell, dating back, whatever it is, a month or so ago, well, more than that even, that, but more, particularly in the last month, that Cedric is, a Cedric upswing is part of the plans.
So then, with moments left, Steve Austin ran down the ramp. They were going to be doing the big beer bash. I thought for sure The Fiend was coming, but he didn't, and the show went off the air. Thought it was a good show. Really liked it.
It was good. So after the show, Austin invited AJ to come into the, all the baby faces were in the ring, all the heels were gone, they'd been run off. And then Austin invites AJ to come into the ring. He's not going to do anything to him. He tells him that, you're the best in-ring performer of the last 20 years. And all the heels are going like, it's a trick, don't go to the ring. But AJ went to the ring, and and more of Clash of Champions from last night when, watching Cedric Alexander and Charlotte in their hometown, and then watching Kota Ibushi in his hometown. It's kind of like, okay.
Dude, the mayor in his hometown. His hometown where he's the mayor.
Yeah, but okay, so that one, okay, I actually like that because it was fun all the way across, and then at the end he does that big thing, and when he was doing it, I was kind of getting mad because it's kind of like, it's the frickin' mayor, and he's beating up every frickin' heel, and he's the retired guy beating up all the heels, but it was all to set up Bray Wyatt at the end, and Bray Wyatt is the main event heel on the next pay-per-view, and I thought that was actually really well done, I thought, because it's like, yeah.
You realize in saying that, he beat up all of these main event heels.
I know, I didn't like that at all, but it was to build up. At the end, it was to make him strong. So when Wyatt took him down, the whole thing is trying to make Wyatt into a monster.
I know, but listen. It's Kane in his hometown is the mayor, dude. You don't have to beat up the whole main event roster to get the guy over. He's going to come out his hometown, and he's already going to be over. You don't have to sacrifice, especially after what they did in the first segment of the show.
Yeah.
Do they have anybody left after this show?
I don't know. Okay, I will agree with you that they did not have to have him beat. He really only needed to beat one guy, like AJ.
Ziggler?
Nah, Ziggler's nobody, though. It's cool. He could beat up Ziggler. Actually, he could beat up like Ziggler, Rude, and Carl Anderson, and just kind of, and even, but save AJ. But, because again, like Ziggler and Rude, now granted, okay, what they did in the first segment when they destroyed the entire tag team division, that was a bit much, especially since they came back at the end and did the same thing. But, as far as like the Kane and, this thing with Kane and Bray, I like that a lot. You make the guy, again, you don't have to protect. So the whole thing of building a babyface in the hometown is building a babyface in the hometown. It doesn't, if you bring the retired guy in, I like the idea that when you bring the retired guy in, you don't abuse him generally. And they often do, although they've been protecting Bill Goldberg a lot. And Undertaker, they always protect. So in this case, since Kane's not coming back, and he's not going to be the future of Knoxville, Tennessee. He's just the mayor and all that. And I think people even kind of differentiate between Mayor Kane and the Demon, in its own way. It wasn't like, but at the end, it's like Bray laid him out. Bray's in the main event in the Hell in the Cell going for the championship against Seth. He's destroyed Seth. He's destroyed everyone. He was the star of the frickin' show. Bray Wyatt's a frickin' genius. I mean, that's that was my one take when Raw was over is Bray Wyatt is a genius. I mean, because he came up with this character on his own, and this is an incredible character. And I don't know how long. I mean, when you push a guy as this kind of a monster, it's like, sometimes the legs aren't there, and then what happens when you beat him? Because at some point you have to beat him. And certainly we're in this weird position because it's like, it's sort of reminding me of CM Punk and Ryback, where they had this Hell in a Cell match, and they had to beat Ryback because they weren't going to take the title off of Punk.
Yeah, but you could take the title off Seth. Who cares?
Yeah, I know. I almost feel you have to at this point.
I think you have to.
I think you have to, because I don't think that beating Bray Wyatt in his first main event coming off this character, I think that's a real bad idea. Yeah, I think that, but I'm just, again, I don't know what again, everything's changing the week after anyway. Everything's changing, so they can do almost anything. But yeah, I think that Bray has to win the title, and that's because I just don't think that you should cut the legs off of him. But he's such a monster. The big problem with him is, okay, he goes through Seth. Okay, who's the kick-ass babyface? I guess, do we only have Roman? And Roman just lost. I mean, we need that babyface, and I don't think that Bill Goldberg is the guy. Bill Goldberg's 52 years old, and we just saw him. But I mean, maybe in a year. But we, you need that Hulk Hogan right there to be the destination for Bray Wyatt. And the problem with Bray Wyatt is that you don't have your Hulk Hogan, you don't have your Steve Austin. Roman Reigns is locked up in a different program. Although, again, come October, that can all change real quickly. They need some baby faces, and they're not good at making them.
No, they're not. So the show was up with Seth coming out, talks about last night, and he lost the tag match. They lost the titles, but he beat Braun Strowman, and talks about being cloaked in darkness, taken down by the Fiend. And then the Firefly Funhouse appears on the screen, and Bray says he's glad Seth is feeling okay. Rabbit tells him to run. He kills the rabbit. Says mistakes happen. Seth has made plenty of them. People have forgiven him. Friends forgive, but he never forgets. And he may have more to say to Seth tonight. And then he happily says, I will see you in hell. The graphics are upside down on the Titantron.
That was on purpose.
It was on purpose. It looked like WCW, but it wasn't.
No, they just had this idea, which related again to the Bray Wyatt stuff later in the show. Charlie, I don't know why.
I have no idea.
But it did. I mean, that was the mentality.
They didn't reveal it at the end of the show, but for like 3 hours, all you're thinking is, these guys can't even get the graphics right side up.
Yeah, but it was on purpose. But yeah. I know, when you're watching it, you just are like, what the hell? Like, what went wrong here? But it was just planned to be like that.
Charlie's with Braun. She wants to know what he has planned for tonight. He says he's going to smash the next guy who steps into the ring. So Rude, Ziggler, and The Revival come out, the Raw and SmackDown Tag Team Champions, for a Tag Team Championship Summit. Rude is cutting a promo when Braun's music hits. He comes down, he destroys The Revival, he destroys Dolph. The fans chant, "Get these hands." He runs everybody over except Rude. Rude runs for his life.
They protected Rude because Rude was going to be in the TV main event. I'm worried about that third hour. I will say this. When I'm watching the show, this one, again, we'll see what happens, and a lot depends on football as well. But when I was watching this show, I don't know. This was the first week where I thought, not so much that it dragged. I don't know if maybe it did, but more that, like, you're building this whole show up to Seth Rollins and Bobby Roode, and Bobby Roode kind of already ran away earlier, and he's Bobby Roode. It's kind of like, I mean, we all know Bobby Roode's a good wrestler, but he's been, up until just a few weeks ago, I mean, he was out there, wasn't he running around chasing Ron Killings? yeah, so now we're supposed to wait, having in the main event segment of the show. That might be tough. But anyway, so that was the one thing that I was thinking when they were building the whole show up to Seth Rollins and Robert Roode, is that I don't know if that Robert Roode's ready to be the guy to keep people in that third hour, when especially with football head to head.
Well, I hate to be that guy, but why do you book a Braun Strowman-Seth Rollins match if you don't want Braun Strowman to win, and you're so concerned about beating him that he has to come out on Raw the next night and destroy both sets of your tag team champions?
He can destroy people, but I did not like the idea of both sets of your tag team champions, because at the end, it just felt like the tag team division was worthless.
You spent all this time building up Roode and Ziggler.
Remember, we used to always watch people destroy the entire cruiserweight division?
Yes.
And this is, I don't want to say it's worse.
No, this is worse. Because the cruiserweight division are the guys on the cruiserweight show that nobody watches. And when they're on the main show, they get beaten.
I'm talking about WCW.
Well, yeah, that was bad.
That was bad.
Because those guys were actually on Nitro and Thunder.
Well, those guys were actually really good. I mean, that was the key. I don't know if they destroyed the 205 Live guys. I mean, I wouldn't even bat an eye if Braun Strowman destroyed 3 or 4 of them, because they don't push them at all, and they're not given any credibility. But yeah, it's like I think that there's a mentality, because that everything starts again in 2 weeks when Fox starts, that it's almost like everyone's like a lame duck. So you can abuse people.
This is a really stupid attitude, if that's the attitude.
Yeah, but don't you sense watching it that that's the attitude they got right now?
No, this is what they do all the time. They're constantly burying people left and right. I mean, they've had people beat the tag team champs. That's a Vince thing that he's done for like 2 decades.
Vince always.
But this is a new one, beating both sets of tag team champions up.
Well, Vince. The thing with Vince is that he puts belts on people to beat them, which is like the opposite of traditional, where traditional you put belts on people so they beat people. You make the belts something. It's like the writing. It's just it's the mentality. It's like in your hometown. It's like you do everything different from usual. In your hometown, you beat the hometown guy to get heat. But where everyone else would go, like all things equal in the hometown, you put the hometown guy over unless there's a strong reason not to. You put belts on guys aside from the main title, because that's the only title that really matters, would be the Universal and WWE, and to an extent the 2 women's belts, but like the tag belts, every set of tag belts. I mean, look, we had the women's tag champions lost again too, and I don't even think that set up a championship match.
Alexa and Nikki are bragging backstage. They bury Bayley and Sasha. They note that Sasha said the belts meant nothing to her. Bayley still forgave her, which is a great point. And they're going to show them how true champions value their titles. Cedric Alexander and the War Raiders against AJ and the OC. They do this match. They get the heat on Eric. And Cedric tags in. And they do some spots there at the end. And all you need to know is everybody hits a big move on everybody else. And then AJ gets a blind tag. He hits Cedric with the phenomenal forearm. He pinned Cedric in the middle of the ring.
Didn't you just Styles Clash that come later?
That was later. So first he pins him with a phenomenal
Right.
forearm.
He pins him with a forearm, and then he hits the Styles Clash when he beats him up the second time.
So AJ stomps on him afterwards. The OC attacks the Raiders. Ivar dives on everybody. It's actually 3 guys to catch him. Nobody touches him. He smashes onto the ground. That
yeah,
brutal.
he landed back first. They sort of. I think that he was touched, but nobody broke his fall. It's like he missed the 7-10.
He hit everyone's fingers, is what happened.
Yeah, basically.
Cedric then cuts off AJ. He goes up top for a top rope Frankensteiner. AJ catches him in mid-move and hits him with a middle rope Styles Clash. So he pinned him and he laid him out afterwards.
Didn't you do that last night too?
This guy's done. What's the story? Don't even tell me the story is he's not done.
I would just think that he's being buried. I was told last night that Vince McMahon wanted to bury him.
Okay, that's exactly what I figured.
Yeah, I don't know why you would want to do that, but
he's got a very short attention span, and if you're not over in like 4 weeks, you must be buried. You're not capable of getting over in his eyes.
Yeah, it could be right. But yeah, this was he's but again, like they maybe they're going to set him up for something else, but I don't know. I don't see a good sign for him right now.
I mean, they're setting him up maybe to team with Mike Bennett.
Yeah. Right. God, Mike Bennett, that's another one. But here's the thing. Okay, Mike Bennett really does have limited upside mobility. So anything you do to humiliate him, it's like you're humiliating Mike Bennett. Like in Vince's eyes, if it wasn't for this angle, Mike Bennett would be like, not on TV, or if he was on TV, he would be he'd be Heath Slater, basically. So it's not like
Heath Slater's doing a lot better right now than Mike Bennett.
What's the difference? They're doing exactly. I mean, I guess he's doing better because he's not being completely humiliated, but he's doing nothing. But Cedric, I mean, I'm not saying Cedric could be top of the world or anything, but he's a freaking talented wrestler, and you can do something with him. You can do, he doesn't need to be a punching bag. But I mean, that's one of the problems with having so many guys is you're only going to push a certain number, and certain guys are just going to be like that. And they're not calling his number right now. It doesn't look like.
So at Baron Corbin, Chad Gable, King of the Ring final, they had a very good.
Did you see the No Way Jose Kit Kat commercial?
I saw it, and I just saw like 2 seconds and fast forwarded through it.
Okay.
Is it good?
Yeah, I kind of liked it.
All right, I'll watch it next time.
Well, also you missed the R-Truth and Carmella with Kane.
Oh yes, they meet with Kane, and Kane is going to give them a tour of historic Knoxville.
Well, they were at the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, and R-Truth. Sometimes like the R-Truth. Actually, most of the time the R-Truth comedy I really like, but
he's a legitimately funny guy.
Well, his delivery's so great. He makes bad material good, but I don't know. Like sometimes it's like you almost overdo it. Like he sees Kane, and they're at the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, so he thinks it's Magic Johnson, and then he thinks it's Larry Bird. I mean, I guess, but and then he said he was.
It's a stretch.
Yeah, he was Mayor Glenn Jacobs, and fans popped. Carmella knew who he was. R-Truth apparently had no idea. I did like the idea that R-Truth thought he was like the president, and that they were, needed the Secret Service and everything like that. And as far as playing Mayor Glenn Jacobs in this silly comedy thing, he was great.
Well, I hope Kane is capable of playing himself.
Oh, no, but I mean, it's like, this is like a unique comedy thing where you can't be like too ridiculous because, I guess he came out as the Demon Kane, so I guess he could be too kind of ridiculous. But, I mean, he's in there, and he's doing this comedy thing. I don't know. The
whole idea of Kane as the legitimate mayor of Knox County, that's comedy right there. All you have to do is play it straight, and it's funny.
Yeah, well, R-Truth and him. I like I said, I liked those segments. I thought it was very good use of him. Because there's a lot of ways. I don't know, like when they do something good like that, I always feel like when something like this happens that they're going to do something like really, really stupid for, I guess, because of the track record and everything. But yeah, I was enjoying this.
Baron Corbin, Chad Gable had a very good King of the Ring finale. They basically did the big guy, little guy match. Chad sold. He would fight back. He would get a near fall. He would get cut off. He would fight back. He would get cut off. Finally goes to work on the leg, posts the leg, says, "You're my size now," runs into the deep six. Hits the Chaos Series suplex for a near fall, goes up top for the moonsault. Corbin avoids it. Gable tries the ankle lock. Fans are on their feet. Finally, he scissors a leg. Crowd's going nuts thinking Chad Gable's going to win the King of the Ring. Corbin gets the ropes. They fight near the ropes, and then Corbin hits a tilt-a-whirl into the end of days. Baron Corbin is your King of the Ring.
Yeah, I that's fine. Here's
my thoughts, Dave.
Yes.
Corbin has been much better over the last month and a half. Huge improvement.
He was really good in this.
He was very good in this match. He was very good in the last match.
Although a lot of this was Chad.
Yeah,
Gable.
Chad Gable's unbelievable.
Chad Gable is very, very underrated. I've always said this guy needs to go or do, whether it's here or whether it's somewhere else. he needs to not waste his career because he could be like a legitimate like superstar. I mean,
Okay.
he's as talented as anyone, and I don't trust that this is the place for him to make use of that talent.
Okay, but regardless, the point of this is the whole point of getting heat and building up a heel is to set up somebody that the baby faces can beat and be victorious over. That's the whole point.
To set up a stronger babyface beating him. Yeah.
Okay, so Baron Corbin, like whatever you think of this guy over the last month and a half, the dude's already hated. He doesn't need more heat.
He already had his run anyway with the champion. You can't go back to it. That's Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin stuff. But then again,
but regardless, the point is the one thing this company needs is baby faces.
No shit.
And they had the opportunity tonight.
But Vince, do you think Vince is?
I know he's not going to. But if you watch this match, the crowd wanted this guy to win. They would have gone crazy for this guy winning. For one night, they would have actually had a baby face. I'm sure they would mess it up next Monday, but they don't need another heel. They don't need more heat.
We have watched for 15 years. Everyone but John Cena and Roman Reigns and maybe, Randy Orton at certain times when he was a babyface. But for the most part, and Dave Bautista, whatever. But certainly in recent years, I mean, we have seen how many baby faces that could have gotten over. I mean, I just remember, and we've been showing it every week. Kofi Kingston 9 years ago, whatever it was. I think it was 2010, right? The year that he was right there. He was ready. The people were with him. I mean, and then they just cut him off. And it's been, Daniel Bryan over and over and over again. He ended up getting over anyway, but, just so many, it's an endless, it's an endless list of guys like that Dolph Ziggler even. Remember when he won that King of the Ring? I mean, not King of the Ring,
the Survivor Series?
Before that even, the Survivor Series, the Money in the Bank. And I don't know that Dolph Ziggler is the babyface to build a company around. And obviously Vince McMahon certainly
I'm not even talking a babyface to build a company around. I'm talking about, can we have some babyfaces?
No, we're not allowed.
Okay. At least we got that clear.
We're not allowed to have, but no, to me, it's like, I don't know the destination, like what's going on with Baron Corbin next. If Baron Corbin's being groomed for something big, then he should have won. I don't think that Vince is ever going to groom Chad Gable for anything more than this. But the problem is you've got this guy doing this short, it's like even though he got over to a degree, it's the same booking of the underdog babyface that they've been doing forever. And in most cases, it doesn't work. It works. You know who it does work with is Ray, because Ray was already an established superstar before they got him, and he's almost. I'm not going to say he's bulletproof because he's not, but he's close to bulletproof. So I mean, Ray. Look at Ray over and over and over again for 15 years, but he survived and became a legend, even with that booking, even with the Vince booking. But he also could have been much, much bigger than he was. And Chad. He's never been put in a position to be a legend, obviously. But yeah, I mean, it could have helped, but then he would have been Cedric in 2 weeks, and Vince would have just had AJ Styles lay him out over and over again. So, I don't know. Yeah. I like the match, though.
Street Profits are there for the Maria Kanellis Jenna reveal party. All of the geek level guys are backstage. Zack Ryder, Titus O'Neil, Mike Kanellis Hawkins, and Ricochet.
But Ricochet was there for a purpose. When I saw Ricochet back there, I go, oh, God, Ricochet's fallen into this, but at least there was a reason.
So Maria says it's a boy, and we all know who the father of the child is. It's Ricochet. Ricochet says, dude, Kanellis, Mike, she's lying. Mike says, I'll see you in the ring. Titus O'Neil actually cut the greatest promo telling Ricochet to go to the ring and fix this problem. This guy is painfully underused.
Titus?
Oh, he's great. I don't need to see him in the ring all the time, but he is a great Titus O'Neil.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, Titus O'Neil was very, very entertaining with doing Titus Worldwide with Dana Brooke and Apollo Crews. So this is like typical WWE. They broke them up with no idea what to do with any of them, and now none of them have done anything ever since, other than Dana Dana Brooke had like a week or two where they gave her promo time, and she actually sort of got over a little bit, but then they forgot about her. And then I think Apollo Crews has gotten one of those stop and start things once or twice, and Titus has gotten nothing. And I mean, Titus really needs to be a manager with a stable, because he's not going to be a wrestler at this stage. He's over 40, I think, and even though he's got great size, it's not going to go. But yeah, the guy can talk, and the guy's entertaining, and he was great in that role before. I don't know why they broke it up, and with hindsight, there was no reason.
So Ricochet goes to the ring, beats Kanellis in 30 seconds. Bray says it's time to find some more friends. Maria comes out and says, listen, clearly Ricochet is not the father. She said, Mike, I thought maybe if I humiliated and embarrassed you, you'd be man enough to defend my unborn child's honor. I was wrong. And since Ricochet isn't the father, maybe I'll reveal who the real father is now. Rusev's music hits. Rusev returns. He is in great shape. Michael Cole says...
so much weight.
Yeah.
He looks like he lost 40 pounds.
Well, he also shaved the beard, so his face looks much thinner, so that adds to it.
No, but his body was way
He's in much better shape, yeah.
Yeah.
Cole says, man, Lana's in here. Wonder what she thinks. Hey, and nevertheless, Rusev is heading to the ring. Just blew off this whole Lana thing. Rusev goes to the ring. Kanellis says, I'm not here to fight or have another match. If you're the father of Maria's child, whatever, congratulations to you two. Michael Cole says, and I quote, what a loser. Rusev then beats the hell out of him, destroys him outside. This, by the way, this got no heat. And Rusev is returning after...
Who's gonna care?
This is my point. Rusev has been gone forever. It almost always gets a reaction when a guy comes back.
That's true.
But this storyline is so dumb. The dumbest fan knows that Rusev did not impregnate Maria Kanellis. It's like it's
not impossible, but I know nobody bought it.
It's like Kurt Angle's son when they did that.
Yeah, that wasn't a good
It's
one
like,
either.
come on, nobody buys this. Nobody bought this. Nobody cared. Rusev beat the guy up, no heat, and that was it.
Poor Rusev. I mean, so he's back, and I have no idea what to do with him.
Well, I mean, obviously you've got to do something involving him, Maria, Lana. I don't know what.
Really? I mean, I guess.
Lana just vanishes, like she's no longer part of the company. His wife is just gone because he impregnated another woman. Like, if we don't have a follow-up...
Okay. No, Rusev's not the father. That's just... I don't know how... I mean, that Rusev is not the father. That's whatever the father is thing that they're going to do, and I'm pretty
Every
sure
week there's a new, maybe the father.
God, I hope not, but I think so. But Rusev is just... Like, I don't know how they'll get out of it next week, but next week they'll tell us that he's not the father. I think. I'm pretty sure of that, actually. I think that the reveal of the father is going to be like something like, like a long-term thing. God, I wonder if it's going to be Vince McMahon.
Oh, God.
It won't be.
Kane is showing Truth around this stadium, introduces a new cop, says, I swore this cop in, but not as a cop, as a referee. Truth figures out what's going on. He goes runs right into the end zone post, takes a bump. Kane grabs him, pins him, announces that he has still got it, and runs off as the new 24/7 champion.
Yeah, I like that segment too. That was really funny. The running into the post was pretty good. That was a pretty cute way to do it.
We have Ray versus Cesaro, and they had a good match that could have been a great match, but they had a WWE match, and so there's like
good. It was good, but it didn't have any heat.
No, and they could have done so much more stuff, but it was so by the numbers WWE. They had a couple of cool spots, like a 619 to the back, which we don't see. There were a bunch of springboard tornado DDTs. And finally, Cesaro tried the three amigos. Ray escaped. 619 went for the diving Hurricane Rana. Cesaro caught him, but Ray turned into a sunset flip bomb, got the pin. Last few minutes were good. I think in any other company, anywhere on the planet, they would have had a match twice as good.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Can you imagine if these two would have wrestled on that AAA show? You're telling me they would have had this match? I promise you they wouldn't have had this match.
No, they would have had a much better match, and the crowd would have probably gone crazy. But, part of it was the crowd just wasn't really with it. But because, Cesaro's got, like, nothing going on. He's just got nothing going on. So why, like no one has been given a reason to get excited over him. And Ray, Ray has something going on, which is basically, it feels like the whole Ray thing is he's hanging on and waiting until Dominic wrestles, which, I don't know how soon that's going to be. I don't know it's going to be that soon. But right now it's like he's treading water. They both have no program. That's another thing. So like, we are 3 weeks away, and we do have a pay-per-view coming up. And I mean, the two big matches they did, the Seth Rollins and Bray Wyatt match, I mean, they pushed that, as far as they made it as big as, they actually made it real big. And then the other one, which was the Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks women's Hell in a Cell match. They did an angle for it. It was good as well. But that was it. It was like there was nothing like I figured like Ray's going to be for someone, but not really. And, some of these other people might be doing something, but, and they will. But, it wasn't. I guess we'll have to wait till next week for the rest of that stuff.
We had an AOP promo in a darkened room, largely in, I believe, Punjabi and Albanian. Subtitles said nobody has seen them since Mania because they've been fighting. They came here to fight. Everyone complained they were hurting them in the ring. Nobody wanted to fight them in MMA. Nobody wants to fight them in WWE. Every tag team is soft. None of you are men. None of you are hard enough to fight them. We will either be given our opportunity or we'll take it.
They got good size and everything. I wonder, if they could do something with them in Viking Raiders.
They could do something with them and anybody. But yes.
Yeah, I think that's because the Viking Raiders, it's like...
I don't think that should be their first big encounter.
No.
Got to build to that one.
Yeah, but the thing is like... Well, the Viking Raiders have been beating everyone left and right. It's kind of like time for them to get in a program. I guess maybe they're going to do something. Let's see, maybe, they put him with Gallows and Anderson. I wonder if that's where you go with them. Which I guess for the Viking Raiders, Gallows and Anderson, I mean, that's something. It's all right.
We had Alexa and Nikki versus Bayley and Sasha. So they worked over Alexa's leg for a while, then she did a flip dive off the apron, sold it like she'd injured her leg. They have the doctors come out to tend to her, which, by the way, they almost always do this only for heels. They're supposed to be baby faces. So she vanishes. She leaves Nikki all by herself. Nikki makes her own one-woman comeback. She wrapped up Sasha in the ring apron. Sasha took like 2 minutes to figure out how to get out. Nikki hits a tornado DDT, twisting neck breaker. Sasha finally escapes the apron, breaks it up, and then she puts Nikki in the bank statement for the submission. So Sasha and Bayley beat half the tag team champions. I have no idea why they had to protect Alexa. I have no idea why they beat them, unless they're going to actually do a championship match whenever.
I mean, like, you didn't have to beat the tag champions, okay? I can see that. But they wanted them to beat somebody credible. And
so they have nobody else credible except the champions? That seems to be the larger issue.
Well, they weren't going to beat Lacey Evans, and Dana Brooke isn't that credible, who ended up losing. And I'm guessing Natalya wasn't there, although I don't know why, and they weren't going to have her beat Charlotte Flair, although after what they did to Charlotte Flair the night before, actually they could have. But, I mean, the whole thing was but she was going to be in that thing at the end. So, I mean, the whole thing is Sasha Banks had to win the fall. She could have won it on Alexa. I mean, whatever, but they chose Nikki. And I think that most of the time when these guys lose, they're going to choose, Nikki Cross to beat. That's just kind of how it is. So I thought that, the ending was what the ending was going to be. Now, do you want the existing tag team champions to be put in this position? No, probably not. Does this, because I don't see it setting up a tag team program for the titles. So, yeah.
So Sasha and Bayley beat him up, and Becky's music hits. She hits the ring with a chair. She has the most preposterous chair duel with Sasha Banks. Charlotte's music hits. She comes out wearing, they had to be 8-inch heels. She can't run. She can't throw her boot. She can't even swing a chair because she almost falls down. I have no idea why she wore these shoes out for this run-in.
I was thinking the same thing. It's like, what, What was that?
Dude, run out barefoot. Who cares? Like, it's far easier than trying to do all of this stuff with these giant heels on. Plus, you have to throw a boot, and you don't want to kill the other girl, so you got to be super careful so you don't jab them with the heel.
And you don't want to fall over.
And she almost did fall over. And then, anyway, Becky laid out Sasha. Yes, Becky laid out Sasha for the second night in a row to try to make us interested in seeing Sasha challenge Becky at the pay-per-view. Which, by the way, Sasha did in the next segment. Unless, quote, she says, "You're man enough to accept." Why can't they pre-tape these?
I don't know.
It was a 20-second promo that she messed up, but they had to do it live, so she messed up. Kane shows up at Raw. Truth cradles him and pins him. Kane's going to kill him afterwards, but Truth says, "Listen, this belt is like your job. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's brutal. You don't want this belt." Kane says, "I guess you're right. Let's go enjoy the show." And they head in. Becky promo says she got a $10,000 fine for inadvertently hitting the ref. She accidentally hit the ref, got fined $10,000. Vows to use Hell in a Cell to break Sasha.
How does that make sense when we see ref bumps like every other week?
It's ridiculous. It's preposterous.
Yeah.
Doesn't want her in Hell in a Cell. She wants her in Hell in a Cell. So they're going to have a Hell in a Cell match. Dana Brooke, Lacey Evans. Better than you'd expect. They worked hard. It was fine for what it was. Dana made a comeback. Lacey grabbed her by the hair, hit the woman's right, and instead of going for the pin, she dropped her tissue on her and put her in the sharpshooter because they're doing Natty versus Lacey next.
Yep.
And then Seth and Robert Roode, they worked hard. It was pretty good. And then Seth hit the buckle bomb and the stomp, and Ziggler hit the ring for the DQ. I have no idea why. I've said that like 50 times on this show. I have no idea why they had to protect Roode after Braun destroyed both sets of tag team champions at the beginning of the show.
I have no idea either, but because he could have gotten the pin and Ziggler still could have run in and they still could have done everything that they did. And I think that the whole idea is they're trying to rehab Roode.
So maybe don't have Braun beat up the team at the beginning of the show.
Well, he escaped. He did escape. He was the one that they didn't beat up so bad.
Yeah, because he ran for his life because he was scared to death of one guy.
Yeah. Well, they tried. I mean, you can see of all those guys that they were trying to protect him. Now, why you would have him, be in that position where Strowman beats up the whole tag team division to get rehabbed? I don't know. I can't. It was. I already said what on that one because it's just like, it's a lot of stuff here that I don't know. That's the babyface they tried to make, the one who they beat last night, and now they need to rehab him for. I hope that they have something like really big for Strowman.
Oh, come on!
But what would that be?
What is left? It ain't gonna be Seth. It's not gonna be Bray because they're doing that feud.
Yep.
And what other stars do they even have for him to face? Lesnar for the 55th time so he can lose again?
Lesnar's not around just yet.
Goldberg, so Goldberg can squash him in 30 seconds?
I don't see, Goldberg's not going to face him as a baby face. Let's see, what heels do they got? Baron Corbin, we've seen that a million times. Drew McIntyre's hurt, but he might be back soon.
Dude, I don't think there's a plan, Dave. He had to lose, and so they had to rehab him. That's it. I don't think they've thought anything past that.
They could have kept him off TV if they have nothing for him.
Well, I think they had to rehab him before they can keep him off TV. He got beaten last night. Got to rehab the guy immediately. That's what they do.
You could rehab him later.
That's not what they do, though. You know this. Somebody guy gets beaten on a pay-per-view, they get their revenge the next night.
Cedric didn't.
It's Cedric Alexander. Are you kidding me?
Cedric didn't get anything tonight.
So anyways, Mayor Glenn Jacobs dressed as Kane comes out, and he beats up all 5 guys. Gallows, Anderson, AJ all take choke slams. Fans are giving him a standing ovation. Fiend's music hits, and he puts the guy down with the mandible claw.
And then there was all these graphics, including upside down, Firefly Funhouse.
Yeah, they had the Firefly Funhouse thing. This was classic WWE where the video is all inside out and backwards, and we got the point, and then they kept going for 2 minutes before the show went off the air. So apparently there was a timing issue. But anyway, I figured out how we're going to get the next Hulk Hogan. You ready for this?
Oh, yeah, good luck.
You ready?
Yeah.
They need to find a guy who's like from the Peruvian Andes, a place where they're never going to run a show. That's how they're going to get their next Hogan. Because then he can never be beaten in his hometown.
Yeah.
It's the only possible
Peruvian
scenario.
Andes.
Yep, you heard it here first.
I don't know. Maybe they got like some Bigfoot dude from there.
Yeah, he'd be big too.
Yeah.
That's two things.
Yeah.
All right, tell us about Starcade. Raw.
I loved the finish. The show.
Did you really love the finish?
I loved the finish. Yeah,
Really?
I mean, now I know that in the building, I heard from many people in the building, and the way the finish went down in the building was absolutely comical, because this is now after the show goes off the air, and Seth made a comeback on Bray Wyatt and gave him curb stomps and stuff, and Bray Wyatt, he didn't no-sell him, but he didn't sell him much, like at the big move. And then the lights go out, and then the lights go on, and of course, Bray is gone, and Seth is astonished what happened to Bray Wyatt. The problem is that there were enough lights that everyone in the building saw Bray run away. And this is not being televised, so it's not even for the TV audience. So everyone sees Bray run down the aisle as fast as he can, and then the lights come back on, and Seth's acting astonished, and it just, it was one of those things where it didn't work. Seth was supposed to do something, but, the crowd wasn't supposed to see it, and everybody saw it. So,
well, let me say this.
But I loved him laying out Braun Strowman, because it was something that I don't think people, Braun Strowman's been protected as such a monster, and the idea that Bray laid him out twice with nothing. I mean, the thing is they're making this new contender strong, and that's something that they usually don't do.
Okay.
Not at that level anyway.
I did think that was great. Okay. But here's my problem with the end of the show. It's Seth versus Braun, and they're having a match, and it's really not much of a match. And
it was okay. It was okay.
It was all right.
I thought, for a Braun Strowman match, I thought it was good.
They just didn't have a lot of time. Like, they went like a minute, they went to commercial, they came back for a bear hug. The last 2 minutes was pretty good, but, they didn't have a lot of time. So they do this match, and Seth makes a comeback, and Braun runs into the post, and Seth hits a frog splash and another one, and Braun kicks out. Goes for his 3 topes. He stumbles on the third one, which actually was great because Braun was supposed to catch him. Braun lays him out.
No. Do you think that stumble was real, or do you think that was fortunate?
I think that was fortunate.
So did I. I thought, but I thought that the announcers did a great job of covering for it.
They did. So he goes for the third one. He gets caught. Braun gives him the power slam outside. He throws him in the ring. He is going for another power slam. The lights go out, and the Fiend attacks Braun. So,
I know what you're going to say, and I agree with you, but go ahead.
Dude, I'm supposed to be excited about Seth Rollins.
I know.
He was getting his ass kicked in this match. He was on his way to losing. He'd been power slammed outside, and he was about to be pinned, and the Fiend showed up and basically saved the guy. Okay, that's number one.
He didn't save the guy, but I guess you could say he saved him from the pin, yes.
He kind of saved him from the pin. So he beats up Braun. The Braun stuff is great. Like, they're putting this guy over big. But at the end of the day, the end of last week's show, and the promo at the beginning of this show, Seth is afraid of Bray Wyatt in a mask. You can be worried that the guy is like beating everybody up and he's laying everybody out with his move, but it's Bray Wyatt with a mask on. I realize they did this stuff with The Undertaker in the 90s, and like he's a dead man and everybody's scared, but it's 2019. It's Bray in a costume, and Seth has to act like he's scared of this costume. He's a grown man. Like, when this show was over, I was like, you want a textbook example of how to make a guy into a total geek? Like, the last 5 minutes of this show was how to make a guy into a geek. I
personally believe that your top babyface should never do what Seth Rollins did under any circumstance. Even he can act concerned as hell.
He should be concerned that this guy laid out Braun Strowman. He shouldn't be scared of a guy in a mask.
But he didn't act. The opening interview I actually thought was all right because he was concerned. He was putting him over as more than your run of the mill challenger. I like that. I like the deal with Braun Strowman, but the idea.
Yeah, but he used the line of "I came face to face with the living embodiment of a nightmare." I'm like,
I like
no,
that line.
it's Bray Wyatt in a mask, for crying out loud. That's not the living embodiment of a nightmare.
Well, they're trying to get him over as the living embodiment of a nightmare. I like that line. I mean, I know what you're saying, but this is, again, the whole concept is that fantasy, because if you take that away and you just go, hey, this is just Bray Wyatt, who we've seen for years and years, none of this works. We have to go with the idea that this is that Bray Wyatt has been given supernatural whatever, like in some movie. I mean, it's far-fetched and unrealistic and everything, but at times, WWE is going to be that. And because to accept the whole Bray Wyatt, the Fiend character, the superpowers and all that stuff, which we all know is not real, but it has to be something that you accept as a fan of WWE, or everything just falls apart anyway. So it's kind of like you're at a movie and you just accept that somehow somebody gave him some shot from an alien race and now he's got superpowers and these other mortals can't handle him anymore, including the frickin' monster. He's like the dude in, like whatever, like in the Avengers movies or whatever. You know what I mean?
This is not an Avengers movie. It's pro wrestling. How about the guy is like a very dangerous professional wrestler who happens to wear a creepy mask that people don't like? I mean, you can do this without giving him supernatural powers in 2019.
But he's Bray Wyatt. We've seen Bray Wyatt for years, and for the last we saw of him, he was freaking doing a tag team with Matt Hardy.
I saw
against the B team
hologram, and it sucked, and the crowd turned on it. I saw worms on the mat. It sucked, and the crowd turned on it.
Okay, this is okay, but this so far the crowd hasn't turned on this. I mean, granted the jury is not out yet. We will see in Sacramento on October the 6th when we have the match how the crowd reacts. But I didn't hear any negativity in Calgary and Edmonton. When they did, and they did the real short match, where, Bray, so what they did at the house shows is Bray just kills him. Seth does get a short comeback, and then Bray gets the mandible claw. Seth gets on the ropes and doesn't break the hold on the ropes, and it's a DQ finish, which is a shit finish for a house show. But, the whole thing is that even at the house show level, they don't want to beat Bray. They don't want to,
cool. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, so they're trying, they are
trying, and there's a lot of things about this character that I really like, but there's certain things about this that are just like, I'm watching it, I'm just thinking, come on, why are you crying? Why is Seth Rollins crying? Because the Fiend is looking at him.
He wasn't crying.
He did last week. He was sitting in the corner crying last week. I mean, come on.
No, your top babyface should never cry unless it's like the death of somebody or some big emotional thing, but not afraid of a guy. I didn't like him being that afraid. I mean, I would agree with that. I mean, when I saw him, cowering in that corner and just afraid, it's like, dude, you're in the main event. I mean, not even you're in the main event. You're the Universal Champion. You're the top babyface on the brand. It's like, I mean, I know like you want to get the heel over, but I like concern, but standing up and yeah.
Dude, there's a million ways to get the heel over. Seth goes for his move, it doesn't work, he gets put in the claw and laid out. Next week he goes for his move, it doesn't work, he gets put in the claw and laid out. Now you got something to really be worried about when you cut your promo. Not that the guy's got a mask on and he scared you.
Well, he did destroy Braun Strowman twice.
He did. That's a good thing to talk about next week. Hopefully that's all he talks about next week and not how scary the Fiend is.
Yeah, well, next week he's got to wrestle Ray. Although maybe Bray will run in during that match too.
I figure he's got to.
And take out Ray, right? Instead of take out Seth.
Well, I mean, he has to. Well, we'll get to it. So Seth does his promo at the beginning of the show, talks about how he laid out Braun, he laid out Brock, and he's going to lay out the Fiend. And this brings out Braun, who's very upset about all of this, and he says, you cost us the Raw tag titles. Last week you said you hoped you wouldn't get a rematch with me, or I wouldn't get my rematch for the title. And Seth said, I didn't say that. I said, I'm glad I don't have to fight you anymore. But if you're going to come out here and talk this trash, I want to fight you tonight. And Braun says, well, tonight you'll get these hands. So they set up the main event of the show.
Yeah, nice. I mean, I am really curious because the third hour was pretty much built around that match and that 5-way elimination match for the title shot. So I'm wondering, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if that third hour holds up as compared to other weeks, because, usually it falls pretty big. Because, I mean, it's like, you can't fault the attempt to put the star power out there, even though I know that, like, Robert Roode is still probably not over as a big star, but they're trying with him. And then the other guys, you had AJ in there who's, you had AJ and Nakamura and Ray, who are big stars all in that match. So, you had that.
So we have the Viking Raiders versus the OC, who have new music. AJ gets ejected early, and as he's leaving, Cedric Alexander jumps him from behind and runs him backstage. It's the only time we see Cedric on the show. Heels get the heat on Ivar. Eric gets the hot tag. Bunch of big spots there at the end. Escapes the Magic Killer. Raiders hit the Viking Experience. Eric hits a tope to the outside. Ivar gets the pin. Fun match. Good finish.
Like the match. I think that it felt, I should actually ask about this, but it felt to me like they're going to go with the Viking Raiders against Roode and Ziggler at some point, probably soon. I don't know if it's paid.
Or AOP.
That's another point. They could do that at some point. It makes sense. But I think that, like, beating Gallows and Anderson, you really should be in that tag team title picture. Those guys are a really good team.
Yeah.
They've been for years. They're a really good team. I think them against Roode and Ziggler could be a real nice tag team title program.
Robert Roode interviewed backstage. She asks him why he thinks he'll come out on top in the 5. I hate these questions. He says, well, I beat Rollins already, and with the title on the line, the results will be glorious. Then we have Michael Cole interviewing Becky in a sit-down. It's like, only you would see this in WWE. First question is, Becky, do you think you made the right choice challenging Sasha to a cell match? I'm like, what a stupid question. Becky says, yes, of course I did. Can make history on my own. I've called out everybody, including Sasha. I want her on a hot streak in this match. Cole says, there's only been one women's Hell in a Cell match, and Sasha was in it. Becky says,
lost it.
She lost. Cole says, well, you got me there.
he at least could say, and they did bring this up many times, that at least she has experience. If you have experience, you're ahead of the game of someone who's never done it. That's the theory behind it. But yeah, it's
just so dumb. And then Cole goes, that Bayley will be at ringside. I'm like, it's a cell match, you moron. Like, who cares who's at ringside?
In theory, shouldn't the promotion of the match be that Bayley can't get in? And then
that is the promotion. It's a cell match.
But didn't she say that she didn't, that it's not even to keep Bayley out?
Yeah, Becky then goes, well, it's not about keeping her out. It's about keeping Sasha in.
So Bayley's going to get in.
I don't know. Then Cole says, Sasha really upped her game at Clash of Champions when she introduced a chair and you ended up fined $10,000. I'm like, that's upping her game? Becky says, Sasha tried to end me. At Hell in a Cell, I'm going to get my chance to end her.
Yeah.
Rusev versus EC3. Crowd chanted, we want Lana. Rusev won in 2 minutes. Mashka kick and accolade.
Even in the 2 minutes, this wasn't good.
No.
EC3, it's like they beat the confidence out of that guy something fierce. Because
I hope they're happy.
Yeah. Because he was out there. He was out there like a guy who was just like all the TV that this guy's done for years and years and years, right? And he was out there like a guy who's like so nervous that he's on television. It was just, man, it just wasn't good.
I have a Ray promo. It says, a few weeks ago, I almost retired. Now I'm here with an opportunity to get a shot for the Universal title next week, all thanks to my son, Dominic. Just want you to know, tonight's match is dedicated to you. Nikki Cross.
Now, when he said that, I don't know.
Figured he'd lose, but he didn't.
He won. No, but I figure at some point he does this and
this is a slow build.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to do the thing with Dominic until like WrestleMania season, probably. Yeah. So yeah, it's a slow build.
Nikki Cross, Sasha Banks with Bayley and Alexa at ringside.
Okay, this match went way too long.
Oh, it went on forever. It was kind of sloppy. They did the weirdest thing. Like, you never see this in WWE matches. Nikki Cross makes her big comeback, lariat, neck breaker, and then Sasha cuts her off and gets the heat again. And so they go on, and the fans were into the comeback, like, oh my God, the man, this is the big comeback. And then they start wrestling again, and the crowd totally died. And then Nikki makes another comeback and goes for a high cross. Sasha rolls into the bank statement for the submission. It was a good finish, but this did not need to go this long.
Oh, completely. Plus, it's like the whole thing is Sasha's going for the championship in Hell in a Cell, and she should have won in 5 minutes.
Yeah, she barely beat this girl.
I mean, it took forever.
I guess it is one half of the tag team champion, so.
It doesn't matter. She should have won in 5 minutes. The match shouldn't have dragged. I mean, you come out of it where you overexposed Sasha, and I mean, it's not like it's a killer, but the match went too long. That's all. She didn't, but Sasha did not come across as special.
No.
When the thing was over, which is the key to everything, is Sasha's in a big match on this pay-per-view, and she needs to be booked to come across special, and this crowd was dead for her.
Dude, they have not made her come across special at all. Like, every single match, she's almost beaten. Bayley makes the save. Almost beaten. Same thing happened here. She gets hit with the neck breaker. Bayley makes the save. Alexa beats up Bayley. Like, Sasha is not being portrayed as, like, a force. They're spending too much time trying to push her and Bayley as a heel team, and it's hurting Sasha.
Well, I don't think that is on its own, but this match did. But I mean, originally though, they brought her out there real strong the first week or two, leading up to the first match. But this one, yeah. I mean, this, whatever, yeah.
OC talked about Cedric backstage. They tell him that Cedric is not in AJ's league. And AJ says, nothing will get in the way of me winning the title. Street Profits do their thing. Miz shows up. 2 huge announcements. One, he has a new daughter. Yep. And unlike Mike Kanellis, he says, we actually know who the father is.
So the Mike Kanellis thing was like nothing, no follow-up this week at all.
Zero.
The only thing that they did do is Renee went out of her way to make sure that everybody knew that Rusev was not the father, that had nothing to do with the story. So they wanted that explained to us when he came out. Another thing, and this is so minor, but it's like one of those things that as soon as they said it, it like hit me, is Rusev's lost however many pounds. What do you think? 40 pounds maybe?
Something like that.
I mean, it looks like a lot anyway. Because he went from being this bulky, 300-pound powerhouse to being, I don't know what he weighs now. I mean, he looks like 250 maybe, But the point is, they announced him at the same weight that he was before, and it's like, shouldn't you like adjust that in some way, shape, or form? Because they announced him at 304 pounds, or 100.
He's definitely not 304 pounds right now.
138 kilos, which is 276. 304 pounds. So, yeah, I just thought, whatever. Again, it's minor. No one listens to the weights anyway. Weights are like from another era. But if you're going to announce someone at a weight that's lost all this weight, where whatever, don't announce them at a weight that's like 50 pounds heavier than they really are, or 40 pounds heavier, whatever the real number is.
They announced the next week Miz TV with Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair.
Boy.
So actually, I presume the Fiend lays out them.
I mean, he could. I could see that. I guess that makes sense. The thing that, but he can't lay him out because this is Monday and they're both booked on Friday. So if he lays them out and then those guys show up on Friday, that's not good.
We have clips of Brock challenging Kofi.
Another thing too is if Friday's like this big thing and all these guys are going to be there, I can see Lesnar, because Lesnar's going to promo, his match with Kofi, and they'll do, there's a reason for Lesnar being there on Monday to promote Friday. Okay, I get that completely. But shouldn't you save Hogan and Flair for Friday? Because it's like, if you see them on Monday, and we saw this with Austin, not, and I mean, just, we don't have to say Austin. I mean, we've seen this with television shows this summer. We've seen it with wrestling a million times. It's like, the nostalgia works once. These bringing back these legends works once every now and then, and this is like way too often. I mean, Austin was brought back, whatever. I mean, and then but like, what if Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan are on Monday? What's the big lure of seeing them on Friday? We just saw them on Monday, so I guess that they probably have an angle that's going to run for Friday, and I guess that's the reason why. But the whole thing with those guys, it's not to shoot an angle with them. it's now we get to see him. I think people want to see them do like, one promo. And with Rick, they're so afraid of what he's going to do that they probably won't even let him do a promo anyway. So, but anyway, yeah.
Ember Moon, Lacey Evans. First thing Ember does is kick her full on hard in the neck. And she drop kicks Ember outside for the heat. Ember makes her comeback. Goes up top. Lacey grabs her by the hair, gives her the women's right. Ember falls into the ring. Instead of getting the pin, she puts on a sharpshooter, falls down, ends up on one knee as Ember taps out.
At least they tried to explain that, but yeah.
This actually was great because they cut backstage and Natty is watching and she's smiling. And at first I'm like, well, if you don't care, why do I care? And then she explains why she's smiling.
Yeah, because she bought a sharpshooter.
She hasn't figured out that sharpshooter yet. And I think that was an audible because I don't think that Lacey Evans was supposed to fall down.
No. I think that was an audible too.
Yeah, so that was very good by Natty.
Yeah.
And I kind of liked it because of that.
Yeah.
Firefly Funhouse, the rabbit and the pig are fighting over Seth Rollins' action figure. Bray tears it in half, sharing is caring, says, see you in hell. So Truth and Carmella run to the ring. All the geeks follow them. Carmella says, hold on, everybody. We've been on the run for 4 months now. And Truth says, don't worry, we're going to get out of this. She says, I'm serious here. I'm exhausted. I can't eat. I can't sleep. I can't do this anymore. So Truth gives her a hug. And she rolls him up and pins him. And then the female version of this crew, Sarah Logan, the Iconics, and Dana Brooke, they run out they chase Carmella to the back.
Those poor Iconics, they were getting like all this TV time for a while when they were champions and never winning a match.
They were having horrible matches.
I know.
Maybe you need to think about that.
I know. Maybe, yeah. I know. They did not have good matches at all.
No, not at all.
No, not at
all.
Not at all. No, they did not have good matches. I mean, yeah. That I tell you what. I guess it worked out for the end because Bayley ends up with that SmackDown title and Sasha's going for the Raw title and pushed better than she was, but. With the benefit of hindsight, that decision to put the tag team title on the Iconics when Bayley and
Sasha
Banks
killed those belts.
When Bayley and Sasha Banks were like making those belts mean something, yeah, it killed those belts. And now they're on, Bliss and Cross, and nobody cares about those belts.
We had a Bayley and Sasha promo. Sammy gave Nakamura a pep talk, and then King Corbin in a crown and a fur cape getup faces Chad Gable. Lightning does not strike twice. This was nowhere near as good as last week.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
A million chin locks and such.
It was all right.
I will give them this.
I had no problem with the match, and I thought the last couple of minutes were good. And I know they had to do the DQ. And I think that Corbin in that getup is just enough. There's just enough campiness to it that I kind of I like him in it. Not that I want to see him wrestle long matches, but I like him in it, and they're trying to do something with him. It's
we've done something with him before. The main point of this is this match was okay, but the fans were super into Gable, and he failed again when the guy hit him with the scepter. And
but it was a DQ. It wasn't like if he got pinned.
I realize that, but they need to give this guy a win, like quick, because otherwise they're going to miss the boat on him. Like they do on everybody, because they just figure we'll beat him and we'll beat him and we'll beat him. And with the exception of Daniel Bryan, when you beat him and beat him and beat him, the day is going to come where the people just give up. And they have not given up on him yet. But he has to get a big win here soon.
He should have won tonight.
Well, yeah. But he didn't. So he needs to get one soon. Like
I agree. He should have won that match. There was no reason to do the DQ other than they wanted to protect Corbin. But Corbin
won the King of the Ring. He doesn't need to be protected.
He won the King of the Ring. He got new music. He got a new costume. And
he doesn't need a finish that will give him more heat. He's got enough heat. He's got more than enough heat.
Well, it's not the heat. It's just the fact that he's got that campy outfit. So he's in the position where this was a week where he could be upstaged and humiliated, and it would be fine. And it was the week to do it, and they, whatever. The decision was what the decision was, probably to hold it off. And again, if they don't do it at all, yeah, But maybe they'll do it next week or the week after, in which case it's fine.
We had another AOP promo. They beat up some guys.
Was one of those guys Slater?
Yeah.
Because I couldn't tell who the other one was. I thought maybe Kurt Hawkins. I don't know.
It does not matter. They were two D-level guys that got beat up.
Yeah.
Ricochet promo about the main event. It was painful. There comes a time in everyone's life where they have an opportunity to soar, a chance to defy the odds. Tonight, the opportunity is mine. A victory in this match will not only guarantee me a shot at the Universal title, it will prove that superheroes can be real. I was like, what? What was that?
That was that. What can I say?
Oh, my God.
I know.
Ricochet, Robert Roode, Ray, AJ Nakamura elimination match for a title shot. It was a very good match. Crowd was super into everybody. Too much stuff to recap. There actually was a brief TNA chant when Roode and AJ teamed up together to take out Ricochet, but they turned on each other afterwards.
It was light, but it was
happened.
there. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, though, I don't think, like a lot of times... I'm
pretty sure there have been more TNA chants in WWE than there ever were in TNA.
That's not true, but the one thing is that I didn't think that, like, most of the time in WWE, when there's a TNA chant, it's, like, meant to be very disrespectful, and I don't think this was. I think this was just...
No, because it was two talented guys that used to be in TNA.
It was just kind of like an ironic chant. Hey, we remember you guys from TNA. I don't think it was like... Because usually, like, when they chant TNA, it's because when WWE does, like, this would do, like, a really terrible segment. And this was a good match.
We had Ricochet, the code breaker on Rude. Nakamura snuck in, hit Ricochet with a Kinshasa. Ricochet, first man eliminated. We had AJ and Shinsuke having an awesome striking battle. And AJ actually hit Ray with a brain buster on the apron. And then AJ hit Nakamura with the forearm, pinned him. Rude flew in immediately, hit the DDT on Styles, pinned him. He tried the DDT on Ray, got rolled up. Ray tried the 619. Rude hit a spine buster. Ray finally hit the springboard splash. 619. Got the pin. Crowd went nuts for Ray winning this match.
Yeah.
And he'll get the title shot next week.
Yeah. Don't you think it's kind of weird when you're pushing Seth and
it's preposterous. Doesn't make any sense.
Bray so hard, but you're doing a title match the Monday on the Go Home show?
Well, Seth did explain in the next segment that, in fact, the match with Bray is a Hell in a Cell match, and the championship happens to be on the line. But if he loses to Ray, it is still Seth versus Bray Hell in a Cell. He's not getting out of this match, but because the title will be removed, I figured that Bray has to attack Ray.
Well, I think that Bray attacking Ray just fits into him, beating all the legends.
Well, sure, but if he doesn't, if Ray wins this match, he's no longer getting a championship match. And that was the whole reason he challenged Seth for the title match at Hell in a Cell. And then finally, Seth versus Braun. We talked about that, and that was a show. So tomorrow for SmackDown, we've got Charlotte and Carmella versus Bayley and Sasha.
That's fine. Carmella should lose.
We got Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan having a face-to-face to discuss their issues.
That should be interesting. That should be a good segment.
And there was one other thing that I have forgotten. One other talking segment. Oh, it's Kingston is going to talk about Brock.
Oh, okay.
So there you go.
Why not?
About Raw, what did you think of this show?
It was a very interesting show. I thought that the beginning segment was really good. I thought the ending segment was really good. Not necessarily the Bobby Lashley Lana stuff, which was interesting. That's definitely a Paul Heyman thing. I shouldn't say definitely because I don't know for sure, but that had
Paul Heyman sure is into these marital problems.
He's in. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Well, you know why? Think about this. Okay, he's into stuff that relates to his life, and Paul Heyman, I am going to strongly guess, is probably someone who has, because he has a lot of friends, and a lot of his friends had a lot of marital problems, since a lot of them are in wrestling. So therefore, I think that's kind of like where he, that's where he scripts stuff. Kevin Sullivan used to do that too, where there was a preponderance of storylines where, the woman kind of screws the guy. The guy's kind of the innocent one, and the woman just screws the guy. And I kind of see that in this one because, like in this Rusev-Lana thing, it's the guy who's the sympathetic one, not the woman. In Mike and Maria, I mean, it's sort of the same thing, although you really can't have sympathy for either of them. But Maria is more of the bitch than Mike. So we are getting kind of, we do, that is kind of a thing. So like I said, soap opera for guys with the idea that, in the end, you date the hot girl and she's going to screw you in the end, which in a sense, I think that that's kind of like our thing. So the one thing on the Raw show that just, even though, I mean, you can say that there was an explanation, that deal where Rusev saves Seth Rollins and then cuts a heel promo on him like a minute later was just, and he's still teaming with him. That was, I don't even know what to say about that. It was just kind of like, it's too much for me. I just want my storylines a lot more consistent than, these guys are a tag team and then, but they're also cutting promos on each other. But there you go.
Got a brand new open, new song, a new video package, the whole 9 yards. We had pyro. We had a brand new set.
I did think that the very open was very cool.
Yeah, the set is awesome. It's this giant video half pipe. Should have hired, what's his name from AEW, the skateboarder. Should have hired
Darby Allin?
Darby Allin. He should have gone down that thing. He signed in the wrong place. They had this great video package, the pyro, everybody's going crazy. Dio Madden, Jerry Lawler, Vic Joseph for the new announce team.
So what do you think?
Well, this is what I thought watching the show. It was about midway through, and I'm listening to Vic Joseph call some spot or something like that. It suddenly hit me, I've been watching Raw for 90 minutes, and not once has Michael Cole just been screaming at me. It was great. Like, it's not the best announced team in the world, but they're so much better. Nobody was offensive to me. Lawler's fine in his role. Vic Joseph is very good. Dio Man didn't have a lot to say, but he didn't say anything that was, like, stupid, which we hear, like, most of the time with some of these third wheels.
So now you're, like, comparing him to Coach or Renee.
Yes. What do you want me to do? That's what I have to compare WWE announcers to, other WWE announcers. And they're way better than every other crew so far.
No, they're not better than the 205 Live crew.
We're not talking about 205 Live. I'm talking about Raw and SmackDown.
I mean the NXT crew. I don't even know who the 205 Live crew is now that I think about it, because Vic Joseph was okay. So I thought Vic Joseph was fine. I didn't think that he was particularly good or bad, but I thought he was fine. I thought Jerry Lawler was really good. I thought he completely stole the show.
He has the last 2 times he's been on as well.
Yeah, I thought he completely stole the show, which is funny because he's the one who's not supposed to be long-term. And when it was over, it was kind of like, he's so much better than these other guys. Dio Madden was very nervous. And it was his, it's not his first show because he has done, they did try him out on 205 Live a couple times. He's getting his sea legs together. He may or may not end up being good. I do think that he was much better than David Otunga when David Otunga started. But again, I'm
pretty sure he's better than David Otunga now.
Yeah, I'm still comparing also to a low bar. But
yeah, but it's a WWE show. Like, that's who we have to compare the announcers to. We can't compare the announcers to, like, great announcers in other promotions or in other eras. Like, what we're comparing it to right now is what we had before, and this is better.
I guess. It couldn't hold a candle to Kevin Kelly and Rocky.
Well, no, but we're not watching New Japan. We're watching Raw, and we had a horrible announced team, and now we've got a decent announced team.
Well, but that horrible announced team is going to be there on Friday if you think they're horrible.
I know.
That's the Friday team, and that's the team Fox wanted.
I know.
I mean, this, I don't
know what's going on with these people.
Okay, because Fox is a lot more hands-on than USA. Just for people, and I don't know if people know that, but before USA kind of let Vince do whatever. I mean, the Fox people are very much studying pro wrestling. They're very much into this pro wrestling.
They ain't studying it that hard if that's the announce team they wanted.
That's the announce team. Yeah, they wanted the A announce team, and the A announce team's Michael Cole. He's been the A announcers for, God knows how long.
But they need to study harder.
Yeah, well, Yeah, it wasn't going to be Morrow because that wasn't going to work. Even though Morrow was freaking, Morrow was great on the Bellator show on last Saturday night, for whatever that's worth. But yeah, so that's what I kind of thought. The announcing, yeah, it's better. I mean, Dio Madden's a work in progress, but King was really strong, much stronger than I expected. So he was on. He was funny. I mean, when was the last time that a Raw announcer was funny? I mean, it's like Corey Graves.
The last time Jerry Lawler was there.
Yeah, Corey Graves at times has some good snappy remarks at times, but I would never call him like really funny. I mean, Lawler was he just throws these one-liners like he did when he was like, when he was wrestling in Memphis. He just throws these out, and I mean they weren't even like copies of the ones he used to do, because like when Lawler was working with JR at the end, and even after JR, Lawler was then he was kind of phoning it in a lot of ways, because I would listen to him and be like, oh, I mean, all the lines would be the lines that he was doing when he was on Memphis TV, doing his promos, but this was like a lot of new stuff. So, but he was getting over everything. I mean, he was aggressive. The other guys were kind of left behind. He was but he was very strong at getting over the angles when just in his, because obviously with his, 45 or whatever, let me see how many years, 49 years in the wrestling business, and at the top level, and, being an all-time great talker, you develop a lot of tremendous instincts, when it comes to being able to sell and get angles over. And he was very strong at that.
Ray comes out in his street clothes, cuts a promo about the main event. Dominic's in the front row. He says it's because of him. It's because of you, Dominic, that I'm getting this match tonight. I owe it all to you. I vow to bring this championship home. And suddenly Brock Lesnar's music hits. And Lesnar and Heyman come out on the ramp. They get in the ring. Ray tries to yank the mic out of Paul's hand, so Brock grabs him, flattens him with two F5s. Dominic in the front row stands up, but he's terrified. Brock gets out of the ring, stares him down. Dominic sits down, doesn't want trouble, but he's made himself trouble. Brock grabs him, yanks him over the barricade, slams him into the post, slams him on the ground. Dominic actually took great bumps, sold great.
Well, that one time though, Lesnar almost lost him on the first slam.
But he got him up because he's Brock.
Well, because he's Brock. Yeah, he's super strong, yeah.
Ray tried to make the save. Brock grabbed him, gave him another F5. Brock starts to leave, but then he turns around, goes back, takes them both to Suplex City. And it was sad to see nobody out there to save Rey Mysterio, the great legendary Hall of Famer Rey Mysterio. Instead, they sent out Fit Finlay and another dude. Brock goes back and destroys them. And
yeah, where was Ricochet?
Where was anybody? Nobody came out to save these guys. Anyway, this segment was awesome. There's nobody like Brock Lesnar.
Yeah,
he's just great. A monster. He's great. They showed a clip during the break of Dominic being stretchered out with the neck brace on. Ray was going with him. They made it very clear that Rey Mysterio's not getting his match tonight that they built up now for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. I didn't like that, but that's what they did.
Yeah. So they also, when he went into the ambulance, it was really interesting too. Is they played the ambulance siren during the first match, which is a little touch that would never be done. I thought that was very interesting. I mean, I thought it was actually pretty cool. Because at first when I heard it, I thought, oh, someone's coming out. It's like, no, it's the ambulance taking Dominic to the hospital. And the other one is when they went into when Ray went into the ambulance, he took his mask off, which was not called attention to at all, but he did, which I thought was interesting too. I think that was the idea of trying to sell it as being serious and real, and that the playtime, pro wrestling time is over. So that was just an interesting little twist. I don't think anyone even picked up on it, but
nope.
But that was like the idea.
Sasha Banks versus Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch doing commentary. This was a total nothing match. Becky gets on the table. She's yelling at Sasha. They go to commercial. They come back. She's still standing there. Sasha pretends to call for Bayley, which distracts Alexa. Sasha rolls her up, pins her using the tights. I think we saw like 2 minutes of this match, maybe. And then Becky runs down, attacks Sasha. Sasha bails into the crowd. And Becky cuts a promo on her saying that Sasha made it personal. She's going to make it painful, and retribution is coming.
Mm-hmm. Well, we
got a match for the pay-per-view. That's one.
That's one of our 3 matches, yeah.
They announced Rock is coming to SmackDown on Friday. Charlie interviews Seth Rollins. Seth says, I know you're going to ask about Hell in a Cell, but all I can think about is what Brock did to Ray and Dominic. I'm disgusted by it.
What did he do?
He beat up Ray and Dominic.
No. I mean, what did Seth do?
Well, he says his title means as much to me as anything. I worked too hard for it. And at Hell in a Cell, I'm going to prevail and walk out as champion. And since Ray can't compete tonight, I'm going to be giving the fans the championship match that was promised. Anybody who wants to accept can accept, and I'll burn it down. So he should an open challenge. That's what he did.
Okay.
Heavy Machinery versus Bobby Roode, Dolph Ziggler for the Raw Tag Team titles. Otis no longer wears the top on his singlet. He's just celebrating how fat he is. Fans just go nuts for him every time he gyrates.
Oh, so you know what's funny about Otis is
a lot. Everything that he does.
Okay, no, but there was a line, Lawler. God, what was the line? It was a line about like never working out. He was like saying something like Otis, which is funny because Otis, obviously, his whole gimmick is that he works out. He just eats too much, steaks and weights.
Yes.
So, but Lawler thought like that Otis is like this fat guy who never goes to the gym, and that's why he's such a fat guy. So I thought that was kind of funny and ironic. But the one thing, so before this match, so Rude and Ziggler come out, and you know the thing in WWE, and it's on every show. It's not, but I keep thinking, man, if I'm in the arena, like Rude and Ziggler come out, they go through a 4-minute commercial break, then they do a bunch of interviews. And it's like, they're just standing there in the ring with that music playing forever.
Actually, no, it's even more bizarre. What happens, because I've seen this many times at these shows, is they come out, and then they turn the lights off, and they shut off the music, and they show everything on the big screen. So these guys are standing there in the dark, unmoving, while they play all of these video packages. Then they play some other random videos during the commercial break. And then when they come back from commercial, the music just picks up randomly in the middle of the song, the lights go on, and the guys have to act like they've been standing there the entire time.
Yeah.
Imagine sitting through that.
That was because that's longer than some of the matches.
Yep.
Just them standing there for like this one was forever for Rude.
So anyway, they do this match, and Tucker, heat on him for a while, and then gave the hot tag to Otis. He did all of his gyrations, Caterpillar, double elbow. They go for the compactor. Ziggler breaks up with a super kick, sends Otis outside. Rude hits the DDT on Tucker and gets the pin. So Heavy Machinery, not the Raw Tag Team Champions.
Mm-mm.
Then we had Miz TV with Flair and Hogan. So Miz comes out, and he wishes best wishes to Dominic, while also throwing in a cheap plug about the birth of his own daughter. Introduces both guys. Flair loves Miz's style. Hogan comes out with Jimmy Hart to Real American. Miz says, how many times?
What was Jimmy Hart doing there?
He's Hogan's manager.
Well, yeah, but
because they're going to Saudi Arabia, and the prince, I'm sure, wanted to see Hulk Hogan and Jimmy Hart.
Yeah, but why did he didn't have to be in the ring in that segment?
Well,
I'm just saying, like, it's like I know Jimmy Hart, wherever Hulk Hogan goes, Jimmy Hart goes because that's his guy. Okay, but that doesn't mean he has to follow him to the ring.
Well, he did
tonight.
It's like,
so I mean, one of the points is like Jimmy Hart is like a great promo when he wants when he's given the chance. So he's out there and he's just standing there with his jet black hair at 70+ years old, and all I can think of is like, give this guy a chance to talk. He's actually quite good at this. And no, he's just standing there for like no reason. I mean, it's like not that Hogan and Flair need help in it. And they did give Rick a lot more lines than they usually do because they're usually so scared to death of what he's going to say with a live mic that they don't like him getting a live mic. And Hogan is just like, wind him up and he's going to do the Hulk Hogan promo. I mean, these two guys, even at their age, had more charisma than everyone else on the show, which was also kind of a scary thing. I mean, because it was like those two guys cutting these promos. It's like they did make you want to see a freaking match, which nobody else can do. And I mean, like, I'm watching this going like, they're making me want to see a match that I really badly don't want to see, like badly. Like Hulk Hogan, I don't want to see him break his back, and he's looking really old. And Rick, Rick is 70 years old, and I don't want to see him do another match either. And those people, weren't they chanting one more match? Oh, God.
Yep. Miz wanted to know how many times you got to see three legends in the ring. Flair just cuts him off and says, I'm sick of having to hear that music for 30 years. They start cutting promos on each other, and Flair says Hogan may be the biggest draw in WWE history, but in the ring, nobody can touch me. I got no equal in the squared circle. That includes Hulk Hogan. Hogan says, sounds like you want another run with the 24-inch pythons.
Hogan himself acknowledged it at the beginning, saying that Flair was the greatest. So, what's interesting is Flair, when he was putting over Hogan's drawing power, he just goes, like, nobody drew more than Hulk Hogan, Steve Austin, and The Undertaker. And it's like, The Undertaker? Like, whoa. I mean, like, Hulk Hogan and Steve Austin, yes, without a doubt. But The Undertaker, it's kind of like, is that, and I'm sure that, I don't know. I mean, Rick, it could be a scripted line. Odds are it was a scripted line. But that's just a weird, I guess, is that like WWE mythology that you have to say The Undertaker?
Apparently. Andre the Giant's too far back. So anyway, Miz announces, well, first the fans chant one more match, and Hogan says, we're not spring chickens anymore. And Miz says, well, I got a huge announcement. On October 31st, doesn't mention Saudi Arabia, it is going to be Team Hogan versus Team Flair 5-on-5. And Hogan says, well, let's talk about my captain. And out comes Seth Rollins. And then Flair's starting to cut his promo, but Randy Orton comes out before he's even done. He's the captain of Team Flair. And over the next couple of weeks, they're going to pick the rest of their team. And Orton challenges Seth to a captain's match. And that was a segment. It ran long. I will say that Flair looked really old. But man, when it came time to cut that promo, he was 35 years old again. Boy, that guy can cut a promo. And Hogan was, as you noted, wind him up and he's Hulk Hogan. I thought it was fun.
When you only get to see him every now and then, it's, I thought the segment was really good. I actually believe this will be the highest rated segment on the show.
Probably.
Yeah, I would be surprised. I'd be surprised if it isn't. Because usually, like I've said before, the difference between the ratings now and the ratings in every other period since, I would see quarters going back to the early 80s is that when stars come out, it would go like way up. And when non-stars come out, it would go way down. And now when non-stars are out there, it does go down, but it doesn't go way down. It does drop. But when stars come out, it might tick up, like 100,000 viewers. But, before you'd have guys like, tick up like 500,000 viewers or more, 600,000 viewers, like Austin or Ric Flair or whatever, Dusty Rhodes, whoever it is, right? The viewers.
Yeah, it's because there's no stars anymore. It's just one giant middle class.
Yeah, exactly. But even like Roman Reigns, it's like,
he's not a Hogan. He's not a Flair. He's not even a John Cena.
But like Seth, like the last
he's not a Flair. He's not a Hogan. He's not a John Cena.
But Seth, the last couple of weeks has been in the lowest rated segment. And I wouldn't be surprised if he is again tonight. I wouldn't be surprised at all that the Seth Rusev match would be the lowest rated segment.
Well, he faces Randy Orton, but Baron Corbin comes down. He and Orton double team Seth. Rusev makes the save. Him and Rollins clear the ring, and they pose with Hulk Hogan afterwards. I presume that Rusev is going to be part of Team Hogan.
And Corbin. Yeah, no, they pretty much made it clear that Rusev is the second guy on Team Hogan, and Baron Corbin is the second guy on Team Flair.
So then Charlie interviews Rusev, and she says, where's Lana at? And he just stares off into space. And she says, all right, well, what do you want to accomplish here? So you had to ask a stupid question after the good question? He says, well, I'm not here to talk about problems at home. I'm here to talk about problems in the ring. Seth got beaten up. Only one man was there to save him, and now I want to collect on my debt. I want a Universal title match tonight. That was his challenge.
Yeah.
Another AOP promo, then the Viking Raiders versus Anderson and Gallows. Heat on Ivar for a while, crowd's dead. Eric got the hot tag, go to commercial, come back, getting heat on him. And they do their near falls at the end. Ivar hits a tope on Anderson outside, and then they hit the top rope combo splash on Gallows for the pin.
It was just a regular top rope splash. It was just, Ivar did a splash, and I think think it was Dio Madden. You said that it's 305 live, which I thought was kind of a cute line.
I appreciate they are not doing 50-50 with these guys. That's good.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So in theory, these guys should be getting a title shot, but there was like nothing in that direction. No challenge, no nothing.
Charlie says that Brock Lesnar is still here, wants to address his actions from earlier. Action, she says, that some people
By the way,
criminal.
you missed the AOP interview.
Well, they did their interview. There was nothing to it. It was the same one they've been doing.
I don't even remember what they said.
It's a little bit different, but there's nothing to it.
Yeah.
So then
Ricochet
Sasha walks up. No, who was it? Who walked up?
Okay, so
I have Sarah in my notes, and I know Sarah didn't walk up.
Okay. So Charlie Caruso did an interview talking about, or was out there talking about how Dominic.
Oh, Cesaro walked up.
Brock's still here. Cesaro came up and said that there was nothing criminal about what Brock Lesnar did, and he enjoyed it. And the only thing criminal is that he stole my opportunity to do the same thing to beat the crap out of Ray's son myself. And if they were here, I would do it. And then Ricochet came up and said that, you're 8 inches taller than Ray, but you're not half the man he is. How is he 8 inches taller than Ray? I think he's 14 inches taller than Ray.
It was a tall day for Ray, I guess. I'm not sure.
8 inches. Yeah. Well,
I don't think that Cesaro is 5'10".
Yeah, exactly. So he's way taller than 5'10". So anyway, Ricochet challenged him to a match, and then we get the Cesaro Ricochet match, which in fact was very short.
They had a very short match, and Ricochet had his huge twisting flip dive early, so the announcers could tell us he is a real-life superhero. This is death branding. They need to stop this immediately. Cesaro gave him a backbreaker for the heat, worked him over. We had to have a random chin lock for some reason because it's a WWE match. Then Ricochet hit a Dragon Rana for the pin. Fun while it lasted, awesome finish. But
the match was like 3 minutes.
A WWE,
it was
WWE
just like,
match.
It was just bing, 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 and it's out and over.
Got a new Firefly Funhouse. Witch is laughing. The pig is fat. Vulture is short-circuiting in the box. Rabbit scared.
Didn't the rabbit die?
Yeah, Bray came in and the rabbit died. And the survivors tell them...
Hasn't the rabbit died before? Like, didn't he eat the rabbit once?
I'm pretty sure this rabbit is immortal.
Okay.
So they explain they're terrified about what the Fiend is going to do to Seth in the cell. And Bray says, well, hell in a cell is scary. It's like a world without chocolate, but worse. You can enter, but you can never really leave. It's Hotel California. Says the Fiend will always protect them. He will come back no matter what, but I don't think Seth Rollins will be so fortunate. And then he says he's going to go tell the Fiend to be nice to Seth. That's the end of the segment.
I don't think the Fiend's going to be nice to Seth.
No. AJ versus Cedric Alexander. Another commercial break during the match. Had some good near falls there at the end. AJ avoided the lumbar check, hit a reverse DDT. Cedric with the Michinoku driver. They had some sort of botch. And then finally Cedric went for the lumbar check again. AJ countered into the Styles Clash, pinned him. AJ retains the title.
It's a good match.
Yeah.
Not spectacular, but good.
Street Profits plugged their Undisputed Era match on Wednesday. And then after weeks of build...
So they were scared of the Fiend. They put over...
Yes, say the Fiend's name 3 times. He will show up.
Yeah.
Natalya faced Lacey Evans, and they have a short match. The ref goes to pull Natty off. Lacey rakes her eyes, hits a clumsy reverse rolling cradle, gets the pin, and then gives her the women's right afterwards for good measure.
Yeah. They said at the end, they called it the final stamp on the rivalry. So I wonder if that was the means that the feud is over.
That's what that means, but we'll see if it's over.
Yeah. It was it was just there. Yeah, it was just there.
Heyman promo backstage.
Oh, you missed the fit ops thing.
The what?
The fit ops thing.
I missed it. What was it?
So there's this charity of that John Cena is involved in, and he's encouraging people to donate to it, and it's to help veterans get jobs, I guess, and get acclimated back into society. They're down on their luck, and he will match all donations up to $1 million.
Wow.
So
That's pretty cool.
I was very impressed by this because, it's one thing, if you're like, Bill Gates or something and you donate $1 million, it's not that big of a deal. Or even if you're Vince McMahon and do it, it's really not that big of a deal. But the last I heard about John Cena, and this is a couple years old, but it was when he was going through his divorce. And so that's actually several years ago. But at the time, I think he was worth $17 million, which is, it's like, so donating him, I'm sure he's worth more now. But then again, with the divorce, I don't know how much the divorce cost him. But he's also had some big years since then. But it's like $1 million is like a real amount of money to John Cena. So it's like that's quite impressive.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Paul Heyman promo apologizes to Ray and Dominic. Says, if you want to blame someone, blame Vince for allowing me to schedule Brock on the Raw season premiere when he's in fight mode. A lot of tough guys in sports, but nobody can do anything about what Brock did. Kofi can thank God for the power of positivity. But this Friday, there will be a new, undisputed WWE Heavyweight Champion.
Okay, so that promo, he talked about tough guys, and he mentioned mixed martial arts and real fighters, and nobody can touch them. That was a promo for Kane. Now, whether that's going to end up happening,
Cain Velasquez, not the mayor.
Yes, Cain Velasquez. Yeah, in fact, I think that the whole segment with Ray and everything, it's like you beat up the Mexican, and the Mexican superhero badass comes in. That's kind of where the idea was behind everything, but Kane is not signed either. So that's they have an idea. Obviously, it's Brock and Kane, and these this stuff was in that direction, but it may end up not happening, but that's the destination in theory that this is headed towards.
Charlie with Maria Kanellis backstage. She says Rusev is not the father. Clearly has plenty going on with Lana. And then Sasha shows up.
So like everyone knows about their marriage problems?
We're supposed to. I didn't know about it.
Maybe they just happened this weekend and
they just made it up here on the spot.
Man, where's TMZ when they should be out there with but anyway, yeah.
Sasha says, I'm going to show Becky Carnage at Hell in a Cell and make her tap out. Mystery car shows up outside, and then we have Seth Rollins versus Rusev for the Universal title with Orton and Corbin watching on the ramp. So they do a match, and all of a sudden, Bobby Lashley's music hits, and he comes out on the ramp. Rusev is just glaring at him. Lashley then calls out Lana, who comes out on the ramp, starts making out with Lashley. And Lashley's got the biggest grin on his face. Poor Rusev just standing there. They just make out forever. Seth Rollins has vanished, by the way. Then the lights go out.
Well, he was laying on the floor waiting for the Fiend. Okay, so now here's the thing. Wouldn't Rusev run out there and try to attack him?
He's just so shocked he can't move.
I mean, I just that wasn't whatever. So maybe that Aiden English stuff was true after all.
I guess we'll find out. Where's Aiden English when we need him, besides doing commentary?
He's doing commentary. Yeah, but it's that ended Aiden English's career.
So the lights go out, music plays, Fiend shows up, puts Seth in the claw outside. Good news is that because Seth was in the claw, he couldn't just sit there and cry this week, so that was an improvement. And that's the end of the show. And by the way, are you telling me that after making Seth look like a total geek on this show for weeks, he ends up in the lowest rated segment on the show? Is that true? I can't even believe that.
Well, he was doing that even before. But I do think that there's a pretty good chance that Seth and Rusev could be Lacey and Natalya could be also.
Yes.
I mean, that would be possible. I wouldn't be surprised if that would be the lowest rated segment also, because it was so late in the show, and those kind of segments late in the show, it's hard. I don't know how the football game did. It was 2-0-3 teams. So everyone the kind of feeling was that Raw was going to do, between the football game being a weak game and Hogan and Flair being on the show, and just a lot of attention on WWE this week, that Raw is probably going to be, I think the expectations are that Raw will be, the highest it's been since football season started.